Okay, now you can hear me. Sorry, I didn't have my mic plugged in. I'm messing up everything today, so bear with me. I don't know what's going on. I was trying to get the chat boxes to pop back up, but it was messed up. So sorry about that. Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are good. Sorry about that. There was no internet issue. It was more so, see how I have the comments up on screen? They weren't popping up. I use a plugin for that, and sometimes you have to literally restart everything for it to work. So I'd already started the stream before I realized that wasn't working. So that was annoying, to say the least, but that's how it goes sometimes. And we made it. We're here. Better late than never. So we'll get it going. Sorry about all that. All right, here we go. Let's hop over to our main jams here. Yeah, it's the old Monday dressed up as a Thursday. You're not lying, Mitch. Rain delay last night. Another show tonight. All good, all fine, all part of it. We're fine. If anybody didn't watch, that's a Mets fan, didn't watch any of the game yesterday and they wanted to see Zach Thornton debut, there's a video that I made on that last night. He is an interesting player, I would say. Wait, why is my stream? Hold on. My TikTok stream is being weird. Vertical canvas, output settings. Hold on. I really can't win right now. I am not winning. I'm so not winning. Copy that. Hold on. Let me get it in here. Save output. Okay. And then pop it on. Now my TikTok stream's not working again. This is the second day in a row that this has been a nightmare. What is happening? It's fine. It's recording. Who cares? We'll deal with that tomorrow. Doesn't matter. I'm really, really flustered today. All right. Whatever. Let's just do the... let's just do it. Let's get into it. And then whatever it is, it is. All right. Where are we at? We have the standings pulled up. Thursday, May 21st standings. All right, let's get into the standings, and then we'll go watch some baseball. TikTok's not working, which is frustrating the whole week. But I don't know. I had it working earlier, and then it flopped. All right, Rays, 4-game lead up on the Yankees. They've won 4 in a row. They seem to find a way every time. Yesterday, their inning was kind of crazy. Bunting, small ball, late comeback versus the Orioles. They take it again. So they're 4 up on the Yankees, who lost last night to the Jays. And the Orioles, that team, we just talked about them. They are spiraling, I think. They are 8 under 500 now, 13 back. The pitching has been really rough. By run differential, they're the second worst team in the American League, and the American League is lousy, so that's not a good place to be. All right, in the Central, Cleveland, 3 games up now. They've played really good baseball, 5 in a row. Above the White Sox, Royals and Tigers pulling up the rear. Those teams are 10 under 500. That's not great either, because it's get late early here pretty soon. At the end of May, you'd like to know kind of what you have with your team. And we're getting close. We're at the 21st. Athletics, 1 game up on the Rangers, 2 up on the Mariners, 8.5 up on the Angels. I don't know what to make of this division yet. I don't know what to make of the A's yet. NL East, Braves, 34-16, plus 98. That equals the Dodgers for top run differential in the sport. They have the best record. They've won 7 of their last 10. They just are showing no signs of slowing down right now. 9 up on the Phillies and Nats. Mets dropped the game yesterday to Washington, so they are dropped to 12.5 back. They've lost the last 2 in Washington. They finished their series up today. Central, Brewers in control, 29-18, game and a half up on the Cardinals and Cubs. This division's very strong. We've known that for a couple weeks now. It's held up pretty well. So we'll see how that progresses. And then in the NL West, 31-19 Dodgers. Shohei with a big performance yesterday. They beat the Padres head-to-head. They're game and a half up on them. Rockies are in last, 12 back. So as we get the show kicked off today, there's always a couple beautiful nuggets dropped into the Discord. If you haven't signed up for the Discord, please do come join us. This is where we are currently sitting with wins over 500 teams. Little bit of a scary stat if you're a Yankee fan. You look down the bottom there. One win over a above 500 team. That seems a little bit hard to believe, but I mean, they were indeed swept by the Brewers. And I don't think they've played a lot of other above 500 teams because the American League has been so lousy record-wise. Cubs and the Brewers leading the way, those NL Central teams, obviously, as they play each other. 23 wins over 500 for the Cubs, which is a pretty fun thing. Pretty fun thing to see. What else we got in here really quick? Just seeing if there's any quick more tables. Looks like not really. This is a funny one. Fresh West posted this. This was Ernie Clement hit this for a ground ball yesterday, so I found that pretty entertaining. But that's definitely where we should start. You know, it was the game I covered last night. Blue Jays, Yankees, ends up being a 2-1 Blue Jays win. This was billed as a pitching duel between two young studs. It lived up. It lived up to the pitching duel. Big time. Oh, daily polls. Have those been posted yet on Discord? Yeah, I guess so. Here are our daily polls for the day. Which third baseman would you want? George Brett, Mike Schmidt. I'm going to go ahead and vote for George. I'm in the minority there. And what third baseman would you want? Alex Bregman, Manny Machado. Manny Machado. He's crushing him in the vote so far. So we'll throw those up here. Brett versus Schmidt, and then later Bregman versus Machado. So let me fire those into the chat really quickly. Maybe I'll try to run the stream one more time out of TikTok, as that seems to be a little bit of a mess. Nah, you know what? We'll just let it go, and I'll fix it later. I can't figure out what's going on with that. But let me put these polls up in the YouTube stream. Start a poll. Who you got? And the choices were... what were they again? Hold on. George Brett, Mike Schmidt. George Brett, Mike Schmidt. George Brett, Mike Schmidt. All right, we're starting that poll up. We are starting up on that poll. All right, let me get back to what I was just about to talk about, which is the Yankees and the Blue Jays. Two pitchers that have to get watched. Two guys who really came to play. Two young guys, the tail of the tape. Yesavage versus Schlittler. I think we'll start with Yesavage first. He ends up getting the better of Schlittler in this one. He didn't come out for the seventh. That was part of, the issue. With Cam, he went out for the seventh. That's when it all went down. Blue Jays were able to rally with a pretty good rally. Pretty Blue Jay-ish rally at times. But Trey Yesavage looked amazing. This is the best he's looked all year. 6 innings, 2 hits, no walks, which is key. He had some walks in his first couple games. 8 strikeouts, 95 pitches, 1.07 ERA. Yankees had no answer for him, which we're about to show. His velocity was up. He looks healthy. He's mixing his pitch as well. 44 seamers, 29 splits, 26 sliders. Interestingly, they did pack the lineup with mostly lefties against them. 6 lefties compared to the 3 righties. The 3 righties that were in there were Judge, Goldschmidt, and Volpe. For me, I'd rather have righties up against Trey Yesavage, but the Yankees are a little bit left-handed. Also, another Yankee issue last night. Trent Grisham goes out with a knee. We don't know what that means yet. Could mean more at-bats for Spencer Jones. We'll see. But anyway, Trey Yesavage, he was great. 53% zone rate in this game, 65% first pitch strikes, still managed to get over 30% chase. So that's 67% strikes. So let's go hop into this baseball game. This was a really, really good one. Just a well-pitched game by 2 young guys. You don't usually see it live up quite this well, but for the first 4 or 5 innings, it was knife through butter stuff. So we'll get started with Trey right here. And we'll watch all his pitches because we'll go pretty quickly here. All right, Ben Rice is our first batter up. And he tries to ambush that first pitch. I like the idea, and he's under that, fouls it off, and then we're going to go right to the split. Little high split. I was checking some of his heat maps, Mr. Yesavage's heat maps coming into the game to kind of look where the command's at. Split's been a little all over the place. He's been throwing high splits, low splits, a little bit of everything. But in this game, I feel like he had much better command across the board. Mostly getting his split down in the zone when he needed to, but we'll see how that bears out. So a fly out there from Ben Rice, and here comes Judge. He punches Judge 3 times in this game, and Judge strikes out 4 times overall. So he hits him with a bunch of sliders in a row to start this at-bat, right around 90 miles an hour, with that signature reverso break a la Imai. Obviously, it makes a little bit more sense for the really high arm angle of why he has that type of movement, more so than Imai, in my opinion. Nevertheless, it is a reverso. So then he tries to gas him with the 4-seam, and then he's going to punch him out with a really good 4-seam. Right here above the zone. So making swing decisions really tough. That's what Trey Yesavage is all about. I mean, you see the high release. Typically, all his pitches are trending downward out of hand. And, you know, the slider's actually backing up into a righty. So that's what he saw a lot early in the game. But then as soon as you get slowed down and you think you're going to track something, he can throw an absolute frozen rope right to the top of the zone, which is what he does here with this fastball. And Judge is a day and a half late on that. So that's the first strikeout. Here comes Cody Bellinger. And Cody's a tough customer at the plate, but I would say last year, Yesavage made him look as bad as I've ever seen anybody make him look. So, you know, it's that split, it's that downhill action. So 3 heaters in a row, and now he's going to get him on a split to reach and fly out, I believe. Yep, gets him way out in front of that pitch. So especially when Trey has his velocity going, which he did in this game, big time. If you look at the breakdown, he's up 1.3 miles an hour on his fastball in this game over where he's been this season. So averaged over 95. When he has that cooking, you know, the swing decisions get even harder. Now you got to speed up because it's not just 95. It's 95 with 20 inches of ride on it. And so you have to flatten out to try to get to it at the top of the zone. And that leaves you that much more vulnerable for the split, especially if he's landed a fastball down. So gets ahead of 0-2 here on Jazz. Almost paints the fastball up and in on him. And he just keeps these lefties in that rocking chair all night long. Hard fastballs and then the splits. And then here he's going to go with the slider. 2-2. Little reverso action slider, roll over, Vladdy like a cat. This was actually a tremendously athletic play, including the throw part of it. So check out Vlad right here. Not only does he sprawl to make the catch, but watch the throw, the little underhand whip action. The amount of confidence you have to even do that when you have plenty of time is wild, but obviously he deserves that confidence because it's a hell of a throw. Right on the money to Yesavage for the first out of the second inning. He is a damn good athlete over there for his size, Vlad Jr. All right, Paul Goldschmidt, first pitch fastball strike. Second pitch fastball down in, swing and miss. And then he's going to triple up on the fastball at the top of the zone. Gets kind of a half swing and another ground ball to Vladdy here for 2 quick outs. Third batter in the second inning, Trent Grisham. We mentioned he came out later with some knee issues. He also looked really bad last year when he faced Yesavage. No doubt about it. Struggled with the split. So I knew he was going to come in and be patient in this one because that's what Trent does. And he should have had a 3-0 count. But instead, it did get Trey back to a 2-1 count. And then he's able to take advantage of that. Little swinging strike on a slider below. And now Trent is going to find his way on a fastball here. This was also very unfortunate, and this is when he gets hurt. Just bad communication here between Okamoto and Pinango, my guy. Hey, Pinango. And somehow, popping up off that slide, right here, coming into second, Trent does something to his knee. Not really sure exactly what, but it's the inside of the left knee. And now he is day-to-day. They're getting imaging done. Obviously, this is kind of a, I mean, for a guy who only gave up 2 hits on the game, for this to be one of them, is just sort of comical. But that's the left fielder's ball all day. Never called it, and therefore it drops for a double. All right, next up.
Big 3-run home run the other way
Split down to McMahon, swing and miss. Here comes another split. Devastating. So back-to-back devastating splits. Goes right to it with the man in scoring position. Now triples up, and then if he goes fastball, which I think he does, and he does, you got no shot after those 3 really slow pitches. Like, it's such a difference. And that's 96, and it's actually in a hittable location. And McMahon is still way late, way under it. You know, I say this, and I don't want to underscore the point. I know he's got a really high arm slot, so that takes away from the ride effect in terms of the vertical approach angle, but it still is resisting gravity in a way your eyes are not expecting when you have 19 inches of induced vertical break on it. So even though this is a hittable pitch, off those 3 splits, this was a very challenging pitch to hit. It's also been a request to check him out from the side angle, so let's do that. I mean, not the most, but one of the most unique deliveries you'll ever see in the show. The lean back, the short stride, but he's still able to efficiently transfer a lot of power. It's very unique. Would I change it? No. Would I teach it? No. Is it awesome? Yes. Do I know if he can do it forever? Definitely no. I don't know. But I wouldn't mess with it now. I don't see why he can't build some adaptations and find a way to bulletproof this delivery. But there's no denying it's a strange little delivery of the baseball that you just don't see very often. We'll say he does a lot of things really well despite it being weird. He gets into the drift. He's got a rock solid back leg. Looks like he's maybe IR dominant. Internally rotation dominant based on what I'm looking at, the foot being cocked out. So he's up against the wall there in terms of like how his hip's going to fire out of this rotation. So like he's getting to full range, and then he's able to kind of uncurl all in one and really bring the boom down from over the top. And he still manages to get a really stable lead leg lockout block action too here. So, yeah, I would agree. It's a lot more like catapult, cricket bowling. I would agree with that assessment, JT. All right, so that was the second inning. After that strikeout, he gets Anthony Volpe here to start off the third. Going to start him with a fastball called strike. This is something that him and Cam both did a great job of, just jumping ahead with strikes and dictating these at-bats, not allowing the Yankees to get many ace swings off. Really nobody got any ace swings off in this game for the most part. So yeah, it's him out on a slider off the end of the bat, little foul territory pop-up, first out of the third. And now Austin Wells, who's in a god-awful slump right now. I believe he's like 0 for his last 25, maybe 26. You know, he's still getting his walks, but hasn't gotten anything to go his way, whether he's hitting the ball hard or not. And this is a really tough matchup for him. I know they wanted him out there to catch Cam, but this is a tough matchup. And he almost gets punched here, but that's a great take. Kind of a miracle take right there. Did push him to throw 7 pitches, so if anything, you know, in a way, kind of does his job here if you're not going to get a hit. Just see a bunch of pitches, drive the count up a little bit. Ends up getting punched out looking on a fastball here. Just dotted down and away, perfect pitch, strike 3. And now we are back to the top of the order, Ben Rice. Split down just below. And another split here. Benny was sitting on this one for sure. This is one of the best swings of the night of the Yankees. But he didn't get it, wasn't able to get it elevated, hit it right at Ernie. 101.2. And it's another very efficient inning. And also you can just see Trey, you know, one thing about Trey, I mean, we've all realized it pretty early. The big game gets him going. It locks him in more. I think same thing with Schlittler. So it's really cool to watch these guys, as young as they are, that seem to be able to elevate their game. And they really come to compete. You can just see in their body language and the way they look. These guys are not phased. They want the ball in these moments, so it's pretty cool. All right, fourth inning. Judge going to strike him out again. Starts him with the fastball down and in. Now to the slider. Popped foul. Could Jonathan learn from Yesavage mechanics? No, I don't think he they have totally different mechanics. Tong's like a much longer strider. He wants to pitch up in the zone and make swing decisions tough at the top and really, really lean on the fastball. What Yesavage does is the short stride. He's taller than Jonah. He generates leverage in a different way. I understand they both have the high release, but they're different pitchers. And I don't think they should try. I don't think Jonah should try to chase what Trey's got. All right, so 2-2 count, and then he's going to punch Judge here with another fastball. So gets him with a fastball both times. This one's just dotted on the outside corner, and this is just a frozen rope at 24 vert. So I noticed that David Cohen mentioned this on the broadcast last night on the Yankees side. He threw a handful of balls that were over 20 inches of vert. This one's almost 24. So that's one of the higher readings I've ever seen. That ball's coming in. I mean, it's never really dipping in the eyes of the batter. So Judge, I don't know what he sees out of hand here, but clearly he shuts it down, and he just gets painted on for the first out of the fourth. All right, next up is Belly again.
It's about the life on the pitch, which has to do with efficient spin. I mean,
Always got to remind myself Savage is only 22. I mean, it's crazy, man. Really crazy.
Just to give you some
it's true, but such a strange thing for command becomes so much better with the added adrenaline. Just gets ultra focused. Yeah, I mean, you know, those feelings, right? Like nervousness, anxiety, adrenaline, you name it. They're going to have some effect on you. I feel like the best players in the world and the ones that thrive under the pressure are able to harness that into focus, into concentration. And clearly Trey Yesavage and Cam Schlittler both do that. So very impressive trait. I don't know if you can teach that or not. Maybe you could raise it from a young age, but I don't know if you could teach it on the fly. But they have it. Really cool to watch. All right, here's Belly trying to battle him. Gets him to 3-2, and then he's going to punch him with the high splitter. Talked about this a little bit yesterday, too. This is one of the more frustrating ways to go down. I mean, Belly's doing a great job of controlling the bottom of the zone throughout this whole at-bat previously, like making really good swing decisions on everything down here. So anything up that starts above zone, he's trying to let that go. You know, he's trying to let that go. And instead, this is a split that finds a way to just drop into the zone. I mean, maybe he didn't mean to do it, but it's a vicious, really effective pitch. I mean, you see the height out of the hand of the split. It's all the way up here, you know, chest high, and then it just droops into the zone. And with the ABS, that's all over the zone because that pickup point's a lot later. So that's what we like to call a happy accident. We talk about them a lot on the show, but Yesavage gets the high splitter happy accident. And if he starts doing this on call, it's going to work a lot. It's going to work a lot. I don't know if he can command it that well, but it'll work a lot. All right, Jazz. Splitter away, ball one. And fastball hit. This was probably one of the better swings of the night as well. Jazz all over a fastball, got one middle down. Unfortunately for the Yankees, very good cutoff by Sanchez out there, so he has to live with a single. Did hit that a $110. And I thought Jazz was locked in this game. We'll show him later. He has a great at-bat versus Varland in the ninth, and good to see him kind of locked in and competing hard every pitch. So base hit there. That's going to bring up Goldie.
Goldschmidt takes the strike.
S-tier last name for Trey. Definitely. I mean, if you want to be a Savage and your name's Yesavage, that's pretty good. I'm 25 and only finished my underground, but he's my brother's age and a nailed-on starting pitcher. It's life's not fair sometimes, you know. Pretty cool. I mean, I feel like I lived the dream, but being Trey Yesavage would be pretty cool. Already a local legend, already a playoff dog, young guy with the whole thing ahead of him. Shoving in Yankee Stadium. Very cool. As a Jays fan, I temper my expectations with young pitchers, Romero, Manoah, Sanchez, guys with awesome years, and fell off a cliff. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Aaron Sanchez in particular, and Alex Mack, really all three of those guys that you mentioned. I was never the biggest Jordan Romano stan out there, so that's a total jam job here on Goldie. Goldie had a hard time laying off up and in cheese from Trey all night. You could tell he was looking for something to pop up and nestle down, but he ended up getting jammed a few times. And Ernie with a pretty funny catch behind Vlad right there. You know, Aaron Sanchez was honestly like borderline, looked like Cy Young material. Hold on, let me just pause to say this real quick. And then that kind of fell off. Blisters, the sinker game kind of changing a little bit in the sport on the fly in the worst moment for him. Ricky Romero's another one who was a legitimate bona fide ace. Injuries really complicated that. And then Manoah, you know, Manoah was like third in Cy Young in 21. So I hear you totally. I hear you. But this guy has been awesome, awesome to root for. All right, so here's Spencer Jones because I mentioned that Grisham came out of the game. So just a little program update. Spencer Jones will be taking this at bat. And I thought he actually looked okay in his at bats that we saw today. He didn't get anything for it. But he battled hard, and he actually fouled off some pitches that I didn't think he was capable of fouling off, which was interesting. As far as that mentality goes, I think it's rooted in personal responsibility and accountability. Trusting yourself and your abilities through training and practice builds that mental resilience. Yes, but I would also say dealing with what is perceived to be a big situation, something that applies pressure into the system, is something that's hard to simulate. And some people are just born with the F it, I'm not afraid to fail gene. And some people worry about failing all the time. You know, I felt like I was somewhere in between. And at times I could get into a flow state and just do my job similar to what these guys are doing. But at times I'd be lying if I didn't feel like I was overwhelmed by the pressure of the moment at times. And it took away sometimes for my ability to perform at my best. But I don't see that with Trey at all. I think he's all of the first kind. I think he's 100% ready to live and die with the results. I mean, not live and die with the results. Live with whatever the results are, accept them, and understand that, you know, he's playing the process. So this is what I was talking about. Jones had a good battle. He got to 3-2. He got a split in the middle. He did hit this ball $1.046. Unfortunately for him, it's the deepest part of the park, and he gets under it. So it is a can of corn. But I was actually encouraged by his swings in that at-bat a little bit, his takes. All right, next up, McMahon. When a game gets rain delayed for 2+ hours and the game begins and there's still 35,000 fans in the stadium, fans knew they were going to see two of the top arms. Yes. And, you know, this also helps there's no Knicks game last night, right? So New Yorkers a little locked in on this one for sure. But this was a marquee matchup, and it lived up, no doubt about it.
3-2 in the series.
Aaron Sanchez stuff was top 10 in the league. Yeah, curveball, sinker from the high slot, nasty. Blisters, led the league in ERA. I mean, he was legit. Him and Stroman were like blood brothers at that time, and then I don't know what happened after that. There's a slider down to McMahon, ground out. But, yeah, they looked like they were going to be acing for the Jays for a while. And I thought, at the time, I thought Sanchez was the better pitcher, or at least the nastier one. But that's not how it played out. Ended up being interesting.
This afternoon, we've been here a long time.
It's a great new documentary coming out on Joe Torre.
Sometimes don't know what players are doing.
Talking about Spencer Jones here. That stance is really strange. It looks like he's sitting on a bench. Can't be too comfortable. Do you think they will fix that? You know, what's interesting is that's already sort of the fix. This is already an improvement on what he was doing before, and it all comes down to just trying to make the swing as efficient as possible, as here's a strikeout of Volpe on a chase slider to end the fifth. So he just mowed everyone down through 5. You can see Anthony's reaction here to getting thoroughly dominated in this at-bat. Just, whew, that was filthy. So sometimes you just got to tip your cap to the other side. All right, 6th inning. As I continue to sort through these comments in the chat, Wells is going to punch out here again. So the stance is already an improvement. I do think it'll continue to evolve for Spencer Jones. He'll be probably less open, but the idea of him getting down and kind of ready so he can get to launch quickly is a big deal. Like, he needs... Contact is the name of the game for him because he already has the power in spades. So you saw Judge make some adjustments and it made all the difference in the world. They're hoping to make something similar with Jones. What that looks like, it will be individual, and we'll see what they land on. And I think he's taking strides, but for now, that open to reclose up thing seems still like too much for me. What do you make of Spencer Jones through the first week in the league? Well, he hasn't gotten full at-bats yet, actions, so I'm waiting on that, and now he looks like he'll get more ABs here as Wells punches out on a perfect slider down. I think that's another one of the tricks of Yesavage is that, yes, the slider and the splitter both do kind of serve the same function to lefties, like they're just like drop balls. They want to get them right below the zone, but they have totally different spin. So if you're a guy who's picking up spin cues, you're not getting a lot of info. Like the ball comes out, one looks like a knuckleball, the other one looks maybe like a gyro, but like they both end up in a similar location, granted at different speeds. So it's just kind of tough. I mean, and then I mentioned the fastball definitely keeps you honest, being 95 and with the opposite movement. So it's just really, really tough guy to face. You need to almost hope that he gets you into some good hitters counts, which he didn't give them the benefit of yesterday. So back to the top of the order and Rice. AO, I think one of the coolest things about Trey is how he positions his glove, because even with a runner on second, cannot see into the glove. Totally agree. When we get a man on base, we can demonstrate that. I don't know if he's going to get another man on base, but I can show you how he kind of protects the ball. And I think that's a cool thing to think that's cool, G wins 96, because that's a big part of the game. I'm thinking last night, he presets the splitter every pitch. I'm thinking, is there a way you can get this guy tipping? Because if you know what's coming, you got a good shot against him. But if you don't know what's coming, you end up making the swings that we've been watching. So good comment there. Early Juan Guzman comes to mind when I see Yesavage currently. There's a deep cut. Deep cut, deep cut. Fouled off.
Rice making Yesavage
Stadium by the Yankees team
Morning
physicians.
crew.
He'll undergo some imaging tomorrow. So
another good at bat. The at bat quality did improve over the span of the night.
puts it away.
Hold on, I just got to answer this text from MLB Now. So the at bat quality did improve, minus Judge, who gets dominated here again for a third strikeout. But it didn't matter. He was still a step ahead the whole way.
All night. Struck him out on a high fastball, and we started him off with that low split finger.
All right, 0-2 count, split coming here. Pulls that one foul. He just had Judge so early on the off speed, so eager to swing, and then that's probably the most perfect slider he threw all night. I mean, it's like right off the edge of the corner, so it has to be swung at. We've talked about how Judge sometimes can have a down and away weakness because he's so tall, and it's a long way to travel down there. But like, if you're gonna throw a chase slider, I mean, this is it. This is it. I mean, this is just perfect pitch. What can I say? And Trey definitely enjoyed that one, which, you strike out multiple time MVP 3 times in a game. I mean, you can say whatever you want. So that's it. That's the 6 innings. They were dominant. He ends up coming out on, clean. 6 innings, no runs, 3 strikeouts of Judge. It's more of the same with him. There's really nothing new here. In terms of the why, it's just the execution. He doesn't have to change his game. He just has to execute his game, and it's a lot of trouble for the other team, particularly when they're pretty left-handed like the Yankees were. You would think he would make some mistakes to some righties. He didn't make as many in this game. I mean, the way he pitched Judge was incredible. And I just couldn't be more impressed. I was a little worried at the beginning of the year that we were already cropping up with a little bit of injury stuff, and they had to kind of slow play him. But he's grabbing the mantle. He's the best pitcher on the Jays at the moment. I know Gausman's got the pedigree, and I know Cease, is also going to be in the Cy Young conversation. But in terms of just like runs per inning, who do you think is going to come in there and throw up zeros one inning after another? The guy you want on the mound, I think, is Trey Yesavage. It's just so hard. He's too unique, and nobody can solve the problems fast enough. So I give him a huge leg up on everybody, despite the small amount of games that he has pitched. So I'm going to get in the chat here for a minute, and then we'll go look at Cam and the remainder of this game. There's a lot of Spencer Jones stuff still here in the chat. I feel like Spencer Jones is going through a checklist in his head as he's loading. Probably. I mean, so I will say this, like, about mechanics, external versus internal focus. I struggled with this a lot coming through the minor leagues as I'm trying to make mechanical adjustments. Some of them, eventually stick. But in the time period where you're so internally focused on what you're doing mechanically, so whether that's a hitter with your stance and your load, or that's a pitcher with your delivery and your timing, it's just going to, feel unnatural for a while until you can, make it so much of a part of what you do that you can, let it go and just go ahead and compete and see the ball hit the ball or see the target throw the ball. So I think he's still in that transition phase. I think he's starting to get more comfortable with what he's doing, and he's talented enough to make it work in the minor leagues, but he needs to get into flow state and get out of thinking while he's in the box. I think, anytime you think, it can only hurt the ball club, right? So that's kind of where I think he's at a little bit. I would agree with you, Uncle Ted, that he's processing a lot with that load. Spencer Jones' stance has a bit too much movement. Get him a bit more time, and I think he could change a bit more of his swing. So yes, I think eventually he'll continue to get more efficient, more simple, because again, it's all about contact. You look at the guys who are in the same boat as him, who are going to be swing and miss guys with huge bat speed in zone. The ones that thrive, they're able to have quick launch to the ball, and that usually equates with something simple in their setup. Think Nick Kurtz with the hands already back, simple stride. I'm already stretched, and I can drop the hammer, and I can now cover balls deep in the zone. I have no problem hitting deep because I can go the other way. Think Judge. Judge is just like a lift, and then the snap. You think Schwarber's really simplified it, so it's all about simplifying it as much as possible to mitigate the amount of chase. Because when you have to do too much of a move, then that means you have to launch earlier, which means you have to decide earlier, which means you're going to swing at some pitches you don't want to swing at. That exacerbates your swing and miss problem. So, whether it's Murakami, whether it's Bryce Eldridge, whether it's Spencer Jones, they're all dealing with the same type of challenge. And the idea is just to get as efficient as possible and then forget it and just compete and make good and have a good approach at the plate. Like, know where you want that ball to appear before you go ahead and attack it. What happened to Austin Wells? He was really good at the WBC hitting home runs, and he's hitting so poorly. How can that happen? Well, I mean, for one thing, he's getting pitched really hard. But for another thing, man, he's got a lot on his plate. I think it's hard for catchers. So, don't take him for granted. Shea Langoliers, Buster Posey back in the day, Cal Raleigh last year, JT. When you have a great offensive season and a great defensive season at catching, I just don't know how you do it. There's so much to process. He's in charge of all these great Yankee pitchers and their runs. So he's doing a great job defensively. I think he's talented enough to hit the ball. But right now, he's off timing. When he's getting his pitches to hit, he is not taking advantage of them. And I don't think he's a lost cause, but at the moment right now, he's not in a good spot, so he's going to have to flip the script on that. All right, what else we got here? What's the easiest pitch to steal off of? Sweepers. Yeah, maybe. Something slow, potentially in the dirt. John Smith, 470 about Trey. It looks like he's getting nastier. He's able to get that slider to move more left, as you can see, against Rice and in the Judge at-bats. Camera angle kind of hides it, so it wasn't moving a ton left, to be honest with you. John, let me just go take a look at Trey Yesavage's pitch plot so you can get an idea of what we're looking at on the pitch movement chart. It's not moving a ton left, but the command of it to dot it right on that outside corner that he demonstrated in this game is special stuff. So I talked about it a little bit earlier. There's a cluster here with the slider and the split, right? Here's the splitters, and then here's the sliders right next to them. So more or less, they have a similar amount of movement, but again, totally different spin and about a 5-6 mile an hour difference in speed. And these pitches will work very well together. They kind of tunnel off of each other, and then the fastball is such an equalizer because it's such an outlier at the top of the zone, and he's currently averaging 20 inches of rise, so couldn't be any more effective. But in terms of having something go left, he doesn't currently have that. I don't know how he's going to be able to achieve that with the arm slot. And we'll just have to wait and see. But obviously right now, if you're him, you don't change anything when your Baseball Savant page looks like that and your ERA's sitting at a 1.07. So we'll just continue to watch him develop. Who has the better splitter, Trey or Gausman? I think Gausman's is better by movement. I think that Trey's is more well hidden from his arm angle. I don't think Trey was really injured. They just said shoulder fatigue. I think they just slowly, so he can ramp up slowly. Okay. Still though, I wanted to see him. I was nervous. I don't know. Obviously the way he throws, they asked a lot of him last year. It made me a little nervous, but I'm definitely excited that he's feeling good now. All right, we're going to move on in a minute. I'm just going to add a few more here. Can Yesavage stay healthy? Yeah, I think he can, but obviously nobody knows for sure. Will he be able to figure out a way to armor himself with the way he throws? So time will tell, but I feel pretty good about that. Here's a good one. Do you pick Benj over Yesavage in MLB draft? Probably at the time of the draft, I would have favored a guy like Bench. More athletic, ability to play every day, less of a outlier. But like right now, I think Yesavage is more valuable guy, valuable piece. So I would have been wrong with that draft pick. But yeah, I think so. All right, I'm going to skip forward a little bit here. How do you decide when to throw the split and slider for Trey? They have similar velo, similar movement, feels like effectively the same offering. So the movement is similar. The speed is a little different. I think maybe that goes into it a little bit, understanding the batter's timing, whether you need to go to the off speed that's a little harder or a little slower. And then also there's probably some data that goes into that, but it's a good point. It's hard to figure out which one to go with at times since they are so similar. Adam will be looking at my beloved Chris Sale. Yes, Chris Sale's on the list today. So that means I should probably get back to the program and go cover Cam Schlittler now. Schlittler was on the other side of this matchup. He goes 6 innings, 8 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, 106 pitches on the night. And what's crazy about him, and we've been talking about it all year, but he continues to do it, the mix. 54 four-seamers, 35 cutters, 11 sinkers. He only threw 6 traditional off-speed pitches, 5 curves, and a slider. And for the most part, I thought he was even better than Trey early in this game, despite getting dinged a little bit. And then he did run out of gas as time went by. But let's just watch him. He was also very, very impressive in this one. And it's, to me, like, I think the cutter is such an outlier pitch. And, you know, I think that's what makes this 3 fastball approach that much more effective. You know, I think you can talk about being fastball sinker cutter guy, but like if your cutter is like a 6-mile-an-hour drop off and it's like 90 miles an hour or slower, it's not the same as what Cam Schlittler's doing. Cam Schlittler's averaging 95-ish with the cutter in a game like today, with plus movement on top of it. So it's just a different level. Like this is a 95-mile-an-hour cutter right there to Springer that all he can do is foul off, and then he can go to the fastball anytime he wants. Now this is a leadoff hit. So I mentioned there was some Jays did a good job getting some runners on base, but for the most part, Cam silenced their lineup almost immediately following that. Like you knew that he can get a ground ball pretty much whenever he wants. First pitch cutter to Vlad, fouled off, and then he's going to go sinker, and he's going to get that double play and immediately erase the threat. So the ability to get a grounder, the ability to have one type of fastball, you know, that he can really use in any situation to any batter is just really good. And then I think the key, and you know, I heard Boone talking about it yesterday too, and this is what I've been saying, the biggest thing with Cam is just the strike throwing. Like it's kind of abnormal to throw this many strikes this young, with this size, with this type of velo jump, with these 3 varieties of fastball. You know, he's all over the strike zone. And that's a game changer for him. Here he's about to blow away Varsho with the fastball up. See you later. And he's through the first inning. On to the second inning. And again, you're just not going to see anything but hard stuff. So it's pretty intriguing. I do wonder what it means for his longevity. I wonder if it's harder on you to throw, you know, 90 or 100 pitches as fastballs in a game relative to like a guy who throws maybe 50. But we don't have those answers yet. So we'll just watch. We'll watch and see. Here is Piñango, who actually had pretty good at-bats, I thought, most of the night versus Schlittler. He couldn't get on top of any of these, but he battled him really hard.
Count was rising, and eventually they would win battles with him. Now, there's a little bit of a different team that did that last year.
Yeah, I remember calling.
Killer Cam is a dog. He is. I'm not going to lie. He's another one, just like Trey. Loves the big game. This is a great catch by Bellinger. What a luxury to have Bellinger play left field for your team. He's just way too athletic to be playing left field. You know, he's a center fielder, in my opinion, like a great one. But now he's out in left in a big Yankee stadium. His arm comes into play out there. He patrols the wall well. A lot of good things.
That was an extremely hard play.
And, you know, Cam just living at 97, 98 the whole game with the 4-seam and sinker. And he feels like he never really loses, you know, his momentum out there with his velocity. This was the Ernie Clement high chopper. I mean, I know this is a sinker, but look at the height of this pitch when he makes contact. That's insane. That is totally wild. And then Volpe does a good job getting to that. I thought his defense has looked pretty good the last few nights. Definitely playing in a little bit more flow. Let's watch Ernie hit this ball from the side. There's only one Ernie, I'll tell you that. And you know what? That stuff paid off in the 7th, and we'll get there in a little bit. First pitch, jam, base hit from Sanchez to lead off the 3rd. I mentioned they did nick him a little bit, but he did a really good job, you know, at least for the first 6 innings, taking care of it nice and easy. Little sac bunt by Valenzuela. McMahon comes and fields that, so man on second and 1 out. And Andres Jimenez, who I know he doesn't have great numbers, but this is a nice 9-hole hitter to have in your lineup. He's going to put the ball in play. He's going to battle the best pitchers pretty hard. I feel like he's got a very good mindset, and it paid off later in the game as well. This time, though, Cam beats him with a fastball. 3-pitch strikeout. And we're back to Springer.
That's a runner in scoring position.
Who could be more prone to injury, Cam or Trey, given how they throw and the effort required to do what they do? Impossible question to answer, and I hate when the internet, you know, orthopedic guys try to come on and say, oh, look how way he throws. He's guaranteed to get hurt. Like, nobody knows anything when it comes to that. But, I don't know. I have concerns about both. The uniqueness of Trey's delivery, and then, you know, just the frequency and the velocity at which Cam's throwing these fastballs. You wonder if there's some wear and tear that will be generated from that. This was also an absolutely vicious sequence to Springer. Let's watch all 4 pitches. This is perfection, by the way. This is what we're talking about, three fastball approach. Cutter away, ball stays up at 11.2. This is, first of all, this is an outlier cutter to start the at-bat. 96 miles an hour, right? 96 miles an hour. 6.1 inches of break to the left, which is a ton of break to the left for a pitch breaking 96. And it's 11.2, so the ball stays up. So you see it on the way to the plate. This ball stays up. George is under it just a little bit. He feels good about his swing, but he's like, how was I under that? So he started him with the cutter. Then after that, they see him. They keep him honest with the sinker, so they come in with the sinker. So he's thinking, oh, I have to dive to get the cutter, and then the sinker comes firing in on your hands, and he has to take an emergency scared hack, and he's above that. So now he's seen cutter, sinker. Now they go to the 4-seam to blow him away up top. Gets it to a perfect location. Actually, a great job to not swing. But then they say, okay, you're not going to swing at that. Here comes the backdoor sinker, which Cam dots perfectly, and you're just out. And it's just perfect execution and nothing you can do. So that's how you move your fastball around the zone. You change shapes, you change types, you change intent with it, and you're able to cripple a great hitter. So unbelievable pitching there. And Cam is on to the 4th inning. Does anyone develop better than the Yankees right now? I'm with only the Clouds. Probably not right now. Not on the mound. You gotta love what the Yankees are doing on the mound. You know, you look at Cam Schlittler's emergence. You look at Elmer Rodriguez. You look at Legrand, who's coming. You look at Clark Schmidt. You look at Will Warren. These are all very effective guys that they've developed. This is a absolute banger curveball to Vlad. It's the first off-speed pitch he throws in the game, and it comes on pitch 36 to Vlad, and it's a nasty curveball. Then he tries to follow up with the sinker. Actually hits his location here, but Vlad's a great hitter, so he's able to stay flat on that and drive that up the middle at 104.5 for a hit. Another leadoff base runner. So the Jays had a good approach, I thought. Ultimately, he was a little bit too much better. He was just better than them for the first 6 innings, but they did put some pressure on him here.
0-2.
Valenzuela dropped 2 excellent bunts this game. We saw the first one. We'll see the other one in a little bit. I'd be behind Jimenez a lot more if he stopped with the leaning into balls like he does. No problem with the guy trying to get on base. Yeah, I mean, great comment, Eisen Rosen. I was victimized by him leaning into a pitch a couple years ago, and that led to me smashing the iPad against the wall in Cleveland and getting fined $1,000 by the league because I hate it too, but it's also a good strategy at the plate. He does a good job of making it look like that's not what he's doing, but yet he is doing that, and he gets his way on base. So it's a little gritty and maybe slightly dirty, yeah, but if you ain't trying, you ain't trying, right? So here's a nice strikeout from Cam on the elevated cutter to Varsho. And I do think that the cutter, you know, I think if he was just four-seam sinker, I don't think he would be as good with this. I think the cutter has been the game changer. So continue to see that the cutter, he's leaning on it quite a bit. There's one to Okamoto. Robert Stock says he has a system that found a correlation between certain pitchers' behaviors and IL stints, but he won't release it because it's in poor taste to speculate on that. All right. I tend to hesitate to agree with anybody who thinks that there's like some golden rule here about some universal rule. Like, I see this and that means this is definitely happening. I think you can have some indicators and some things that you might prefer or not prefer, and maybe you have some data that can help back it up. But there's no absolutes with the injury department, I'll say that. Because there's a lot of variables that are unknown with a player. Here's a strikeout of Okamoto on a fastball up, so. Base hit, and then he goes strikeout, strikeout, and I believe he's going to go strikeout again on Pinyango here. And, you know, Cam doesn't even have a hard time when he switches to this quicker delivery either, throwing strikes. So nothing was really throwing him off. He just kept ripping fastballs. Fastball, fastball, another fastball here.
Looked like he was trying to call timeout. A little less chap today. And that's why
Nasty.
got that guy in the mouth.
So just straight gas, ends up striking out the side after the leadoff hit from Vlad. And we're on to the next inning, Ernie Clement.
He's played the majority of his minor league games in. "22 games this year in center field for Scranton."
Ernie almost drove one out of the park here, but he got in on the hands just enough for a little fly out to start off the fifth. The presence of a correlation doesn't exist in opposition to the absence of absolutes you're talking about. Yeah, I'm just saying if you go out there and you talk about, you know, people getting hurt and things that you think correlate, it's not always true, you know, within an individual player's body and within the individual player's system. Like, I get it. You know, you're trying to educate and learn more and more, you know, interesting things. But I agree with Rob. There's no reason to put a lot of things out there. You know, if you're not going to be talking with a high level of confidence. Jimenez talked about how he started changing his approach after that first at bat. He got blown away. He came in much more ready to hit the heater. His second and third time through against Cam. Comes up with an ambush here on a first pitch fastball, stays flat, base hit. So this did end up on a first and third situation for George Springer. So this is a fun little at bat. With a run scoring possibility in the air, but Cam's able to battle George really hard here. Cutter pitch there. Here's a fastball.
But you are right, Michael. Cam Schlittler.
They used to think throwing splitters cause injuries too, I guess. I mean, everybody's always looking for like the magic answer, you know, and you see this a lot even with pitching training. You know, it's like, oh, if you do this one thing, you'll gain this much miles an hour and you'll be more efficient. And this, everybody wants a magic bullet, but it's different. You know, it's different with every player. There are some things that I like or prefer over other things, but I mean, again, there's no absolutes. You know, there just isn't. I think Lance Brzezowski made a video about how the league believes dropping arm angles prevents serious injuries, but there's nothing backing it up. The biggest thing with that is just like when you pitch from a super high arm angle, like elbow above shoulder, you tend to create more of a jamming potential with your shoulder. So I guess the biggest thing is shoulder injuries are more serious than elbow injuries. Off the end of the bat here, I thought Bellinger closed on this ball really well. This is another example about how the cutter is his dynamite outlier pitch. This is 96-1, 3-2. Doesn't want to walk him. Two guys on base. This is a big pitch to make. And then this pitch moves enough left to get right off the end of George's bat, and so he can't put any charge into it. And then, like I said, a really good job by Belly to close on that and end the fifth inning. So on to the sixth.
6 strikeouts, no walks. Guerrero leads off.
You guys, this was a question about Nolan. So Nolan had a torn UCL in his elbow the last like 5 years he pitched. He somehow found a way to kind of pitch around it and just keep going, and never got that surgery. But Dr. Andrews, who did my surgery, also evaluated Nolan Ryan, and he was telling me about how You know, he recommended him for surgery about 4, 5, 6 years before he ever stopped pitching. So Nolan was a freak. He was able to do it. He played in a different time. He did have a great delivery. He did do a lot of things really well. But, you know, part of it is also just being a freak. You know, like I said, sometimes some things are a little bit unexplainable. All right, Varsho this time picks out a cutter, gets a double. So another inning where they put a little pressure on Cam. As good as he pitched, the Blue Jays did a good job putting pressure on him, and he knew at some point the dam was going to break. So here's Okamoto here. There was some research on the valgus force on the elbow through arm slots. Lance's comment wasn't completely unfounded. No, I'm not saying it's not unfounded. I'm just saying I don't think being lower is going to help your elbow that much. I think it's going to help your shoulder a lot, and shoulder injuries are death sentences most of the time. So I'm not saying he's wrong. I pitched with the low slot. It was way healthier for me to pitch with a low slot. When I pitched with a high slot earlier in my career, my shoulder was in a bad spot. So I certainly, in a one-of-one and a one-off, I would agree with it. There's a strikeout of Okamoto. So digs deep, hits him with the front door 96-mile-an-hour cutter, and gets above the barrel here to end the 6th. And that's going to bring us to the 7th inning where they finally are able to break him. Actually, no, he's got one more batter to get out. It's Pinango again. Another great at-bat by Pinango here. And then we'll talk about the 7th inning in a minute. Playing multiple sports growing up seems to correlate with greater health in pitchers too, but there's a lot of pressure on kids to specialize very young.
And there's a four-seamer at 99.
I think it just makes you a better athlete to play multiple sports, which is generally a good thing. But I don't think it necessarily saves you from not getting hurt either.
Fouled away.
Any overhand movement as a natural leads to risk. It's all about managing that risk. I agree. And I've talked about this a lot. It's like you don't know what your own individual injury pitfalls are until you start to have them. And then you can close down those gaps. So that's why I say it's hard to universally just throw one training system onto a bunch of pitchers and keep them all healthy. You know, there's elements of things that you think can help everyone. But again, it's individually based. Juan Marichal used all shoulder. So, yeah, he kind of catapulted over the top. But again, if you're going to use all shoulder, for me, I always felt like I wanted the back of my shoulder driving the action. The front of the shoulder, when you get that humeral head rolling forward because you have damage in the front of your shoulder, that is a pain that nobody can pitch with. Anyway, he does get Pinango to fly out after a pretty hefty battle, and he ends this inning right on the borderline of 90 pitches. So he does get sent out for the 7th inning. So let's get into that 7th inning in a minute, but I just want to tell Uncle Ted, I also really like to say, yo, Hendrick, Pinango. I love saying Pinango. Yo, Pinango, what you got, bro? Highly paid surgeon recommended surgery. Water is wet. Yes, but that doesn't mean he didn't have UCL damage. He did. A lot of people have had UCL damage. They just kept pitching. It's about being symptomatic and whether you can keep going or not. And, Nolan Ryan was able to accomplish that. But, being a surgeon, probably the best job in baseball. You can do it for a really long time. And you're going to get a lot of injuries. All right, 7th inning. Here's where it gets crazy. This is a combination of luck and then also, again, they've leaned on Cam throughout this game, and he did tire. And he ends up with 2 big walks here. So Ernie Clement's going to get this rally started with this slow chopper to third. So again, this was a little bit of the unlucky part of it. Just a perfect ball into no man's land. McMahon does everything he can, but Ernie's too quick. He gets out of the box well. Leadoff man on. That brings us to probably the one at bat I would guess if I was Schlittler I'd really want back. He jumps ahead 0-1 on Sanchez right away, but then it loses him with 4 straight balls here. And that really opens the door for a big inning here. I think it's these 4 pitches that cost him. I mean, you can look at it and say he was a little unlucky, which he was, which we'll show on the next at-bat. But the fact that he lost him here, particularly this pitch, to me, he was a little tired. He wasn't quite getting his hand out to extension anymore, and he paid the price in this inning. And also credit to Sanchez not being too overly aggressive here, as a lot of these pitches are pretty close, and he spits on all of them. So phenomenal job by Sanchez, and that's the first walk by Cam, and that one really hurt because that sets up a 1st and 2nd no-out situation for Brandon Valenzuela. Now, the Yankees tried a pretty cool pitch-out back pick move here, and it nearly worked. This was a beautiful setup. Volpe's in on it. Wells is in on it. but Ernie did just enough to get back, and then that leads us to this bunt, and this is probably the bunt of the year so far. Perfect bunt by Valenzuela, to the point where it's in no man's land. You know, Goldie is coming from way across first base to go get this ball in an aggressive play, which I like because they're trying to get the lead out here. But what ends up happening is they both go for it like they should, but they touch it at the same time. Obviously, there's a hesitation there. Valenzuela runs decent for a catcher, and now it's bases loaded, no outs. So, you know, the infield chopper and then the bunt, not a lot you can do as a pitcher. The walk in the middle was stressful, and that leads us to this at-bat by Jimenez, which is the at-bat of the night. This broke the dam. 11-pitch battle. Andres Jimenez, we talked about how he made an adjustment after that first at-bat and was able to put 2 good at-bats on Cam after that. This is the best one of the night. I know he didn't get a hit, but he gets a walk, and he fouls off a ton of pitches. I mean, he gets down 1-2 in this count, and he's able to grind it all the way to a walk. So you got to give credit where credit's due from Jimenez here. And really the Blue Jays, they were able to find a way to put enough pressure on Cam to eventually break him here in the 7th. And this inning won them the ball game. So great job by them.
And the 2-2. Reaches out.
All he's trying to do is just spray a foul. Cam talked about it in the
Still 2-2.
in the press conference after the game. He said, you know, I could see he had a defensive swing. He was just trying to foul pitches off and stay in the count, and he wasn't able to execute. This was also indication number 2 that he was tired. Me and Todd Frazier watching this game together last night in the studio, and we knew that this was a perfect moment for the front door sinker. The Yankees see it. They flash it. I think it's a freeze if he gets it, but he doesn't get his hand out front, and he misses high. Anytime Cam's missing high into the arm side, he is getting a little tired, so that's what we were seeing here. Still tried to battle through a few more pitches, but yeah, Jimenez, great job. This is 2 more foul balls and then the take. So that defensive swing really paid off for him. And this is kind of like a little bit of the trait of the Blue Jays offense that everybody fell in love with last year. The never striking out, putting the ball in play, grindy at-bats, big rallies. Great job by Jimenez there, and that breaks Cam Schlittler, scores the run. They did try to do a desperation challenge, but it's not close. And that broke the dam. They get the 2nd run off of Jake Bird on this sac fly by Vlad. This is just really good job getting the job done here. Doesn't want to hit into a double play, sees something up in the zone, flares it out to right, and they scored the 2nd run. And that ended up being the winning run because the Yankees were able to get 1 run later in this game. But Blue Jays did a great job. They went from Yesavage to Fluharty, who did a nice job, to Hoffman, who did a nice job, to Rogers, who had a 3-up, 3-down, and then to Varland. At the end of the game, who really did a good job, I thought, with the last few batters. After a Bellinger double, and then this weird play where Jazz was able to hang with him and put a ball in play. Varland doesn't make this play, kind of closes his eyes and drops it. He's able to bear down, and he gets this ground out from Goldie, where I don't know what he was doing, almost yeeted it into center, but gets the out, and then he was able to undress Rosario with this final pitch of the game. So Blue Jays pitching holds strong, and they're able to win a tightly contested game versus the Yankees. It's something that they needed. And obviously, Yesavage was the leader, but I thought the bullpen also pitched well, and it was a little bit of a small ball action for the Jays, so good game for them. Good game for them, very good game for them. All right, hopping back in the chat here. We are now done with the Yankees and Jays. Both pitchers very impressive. It lived up to the billing. Love to watch those guys chuck the rock. Hopefully, we get to watch them match up plenty of times here in the future. So that was exciting. All right, what do we got here in the chat? 23-year-old Konnor Griffin might be unstoppable. Connor's batting .348 over the last 27 days. Wow. All right, I had no idea. I had no idea he was playing so well. Yep, Harrison's on there, Sale's on there. Those are probably the next 2 pitchers we're watching. We should probably stop and watch a batter, though, at some point. So who did I have written down? Actually, let's go look at the coffee cups real quick and see who were our winners of the night. Our baseball and coffee cups from last night. Juan Soto, 2 home run day. Sal Stewart, 4 hit day, including a home run. Ketel Marte, 3 hit day, including a home run. Konnor Griffin, 4 for 5. So I'm actually tempted to look at Konnor first. As for the pitchers, Harrison gets the 3 coffee cups. We already watched Yesavage, and we'll watch Sale. So we'll watch Harrison, and we'll watch Sale. But first, let's go look at a hitter. Let's go check out Konnor Griffin. We got some interesting stuff in the chat referring to Konnor Griffin. So we might as well check him out. He's been playing a lot better lately. #1 player in baseball prospect-wise. So, you know, I did the video on him at the beginning. He was definitely struggling, but look at the numbers are already trending. 278, 333, 405, 738 OPS off of the strength of some pretty good games lately. Here are his game logs over the recent series. You're not seeing a lot of offers. Hit, 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 offer, hit, 2 hits, 1 hit, 2 hits, 1 hit, 1 hit, 4 hits. So he's hit in, wow. It's a 4-hit game up there. All right, so dating back, this is when he really gets hot. April 28th. Since April 28th, he's only strapped it on 2 games and not gotten a hit. So that's pretty damn good. And it's Cardinals versus Pirates. So let's watch all of his at-bats from yesterday and see what we see. Let's see what we see. Pirates and Cardinals. McGreevy on the bump. Konnor Griffin 4 for 5. So early on, he was doing like a thing where he was actually jamming himself a little bit on the inner third, doing a lot of diving and hooking, looking like he was more of a off-speed hitter, but then he started using the whole field. So let's see what we see today. Hanging sweeper in the middle, hammered to left. That's got to be about $108. Let's see. $111 off the bat. So again, the speed-power combo. He's a more physical Bobby Witt, if you can believe it. But this ball is absolutely lasered into left on a line for a hit. And I love his swing. So first at-bat, base hit on a sweeper. Second at-bat coming here. He's a monster. I'm with you. Once his power game increases a bit, watch out. All right, 0-2 curveball, spits on that, and then he's going to get a sweeper here. So he's going to get hits on sweepers the first 2 at-bats. Let's see the location of this. So that's what speed will do. This was a good pitch, and again, not a lot you can do at the as a pitcher. It's unfortunate he wasn't able to get swing and miss on that, but again, Connor's, you know, top 10 fastest guy in the league. So if he hits little stuff like this, he's going to be on base. And there's nothing you can do about it. They're not even going to throw that. So 2 for 2 on 2 sweepers, first 2 at-bats. Third at-bat versus McGreevy. Any comps on Konnor? I think he's a more physical Bobby. I mean, honestly, I liken him a lot to Trout. Shortstop Trout. I know that's a big comparison. I don't want to say A-Rod. I think A-Rod was a more talented hitter. But I'm trying to think of truly great shortstop athletes. I love that he went with this pitch. This is something that, if he does more of this, the whole game opens up for him. Sinker away, drives it through the right side, base hit, 3rd hit of the night, all off McGreevy. Trey Turner on steroids is not bad. That's not a bad one at all either. I like that. Sinker in from Swanson, and then another sinker here, and another infield hit. So again, you know, just speed power combo. He's going to eventually develop into a 30-plus homer guy, but he's also going to be able to get cheap hits, so the batting average is going to be there. The production's going to be there almost by accident. So let's see how he gets out this last at-bat. Matt Pushhard gets him out. Let's see what actually works. Slider down, strike. Yeah, I think Trouty. Young Bogey, but faster. I know Bogey had speed at one point. Faster and a little bit of a different swing. Bogey's got a very handsy swing. Connor's got more of the, like he rotates with the body. I don't know, a little bit different in the swing, but I'm trying to think. He's a tough one. I do think he's Bobby with, should have more power, which is saying something. Bobby's like the best player in the league right now, besides obviously the usual suspects, but anyway, gets him out there. Let's do a little more stat investigating. Let's look at the splits on Konnor. So that first month, April, he hit for a 631 OPS, and then in May right now, he's putting together an 885 OPS. That's not a small deal. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. He's also stealing bags. He's already got 10 steals on the year. I know the power is not totally there, but I don't really care. It's not his role on the team, and I think that'll develop over time. Also, this guy hammers lefties, 306 average versus lefties. So that's always going to be a good thing for him, but he's definitely competent versus righties as well. 270 versus righties. Let's go back to his bat tracking stuff a little bit. So it's still technically a longer swing. I'm a little confused about why, because it looks so simple to me. But, the fact that he's able to get his fast swing off almost 60% of the time is a very good sign. Attack angle right around league average, so it's kind of a no red flag, a swing that should have some adjustability in that. Ability to hit the ball deep as well as catch the ball at front, doing a lot of things well and combining a lot of really good physical traits well at the same time. So excited to watch this guy continue to play good baseball. Let's go look at his True Media page for a minute since we haven't done that in a while. Konnor Griffin versus righties on the season. So wants that fastball out over. Definitely still cutting himself off a little bit on the pitch middle in, so expect to see guys continue to pound him in with fastballs. But you better better be accurate with your breaking ball, because he's owning the bottom half of the zone. That swing's designed to kind of dive and hook. He does that really, really well. And then versus lefties, you're going to have to crowd him up and in with your fastball, or you're going to be in deep, deep doo-doo. So interesting to see how these have shifted a little bit. Just a little bit, but he's really punishing bad breaking balls, which is kind of what I saw that he would probably do in the initial swinging that we saw. All right, so let's hop into another pitcher now after we get back in the chat here for a minute. His swing looks a lot like Tatis Jr., to be honest. I agree. They got the scissor. It's not overly steep. It's very fast. I think that's a good comp a little bit to the Tatis swing. Now, Tatis has gotten more and more downhill with his swing over time, maybe apparently to his detriment this year. Maybe he needs to kind of, maybe he overcorrected and now he needs to, head back to a happy medium. But I agree. They have a similar hack. Tatis and Trout combo swing is kind of what I'm looking at. Yeah. Hanley had more going on with the leg kick, but that's a decent comp too. Speed power combo, really young, right-handed. I like the combo in general, young Hanley. That's for sure. That's kind of what I was saying. Hits the ball hard enough for sure, but once it translates in the game, then he's posting 900. I think he's going to be close to 1,000 OPS guy. I really do, because he's getting good cheap hits, but also learn to have damage, and people are going to be afraid of him, which is going to generate walks. He's got everything going. So, pretty cool. Did I see that Konnor has 3 HBPs in the last week? That makes sense. You're going to have to pound him in, so no surprise there. No surprise that they're pounding him in. Jared Jones should be back in about 2 weeks for the Padres. That's great. And let's not forget, the kid is 20. All right, next pitcher on our docket is Chris Sale. We've been holding out for a while to watch Chris Sale. I've missed a lot of his starts, but he has been fantastic this season. He destroyed the Marlins again yesterday. He's one of my favorite teammates of all time, just an absolute dog. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, no walks, 8 strikeouts, 96 pitches, 1.89 ERA. He's been a revelation for the Braves since he's got there. Let's not forget, the man is 37 years old, and he's throwing just as hard as ever. He's honestly as good as he's ever been right now through 10 starts, 1.89 ERA, 62 innings, 72 strikeouts. So he's averaging over 6 innings per start, which is what you want out of your ace, and not allowing hardly any runs. I don't know what to say about him. He's just that good. So let's go back to how he did it this game, and then we'll just watch it, because we've been due to watch some Sale. I did see his run value on his 4-seam is a little bit insanely high, so I'm guessing that's probably just coincidental, finishing a lot of bats on 4-seams, but he keeps you guessing. 44 sliders, 40 fastballs, 10 changeups, 2 sinkers. I do think the speed differential between these 2 pitches, his 2 primaries, is kind of the way I tried to pitch, but he's even better at it. 79.4 on the sweeper slider thing, and then 95 on the fastball. You're talking 15, 16 miles an hour difference. Just impossible to look for both. So that's what it comes down to when we're talking Chris Sale. So Sale versus the Marlins, Atlanta Braves, Miami Marlins. We're going to do more of the speed watching now and just go to the decision pitches since we watched a ton of pitches for those first two pitchers on the day. Xavier Edwards, great hitter, is going to lead off with a hit here on a 2-1 changeup from Saylor. It's also like the metric on his changeup, even if it's not his primary, is unreal. I mean, 20 inches to the left and with negative vert. Dirty pitch. So leadoff single. And another hit here from Otto Lopez on a slider. And Marlins get off to a nice start in this game. Xavier Edwards motors over to third, and we're talking first and third, no outs in the first inning. And then Chris Sale says, I've had enough of that, so let's watch how he digs out of the first. Slider down in, swing and miss. Here comes a four-seam 95-7 up in the zone, fouled away, and then he's going to go 96-5 here. This is the one run that they do score. Good play by Michael Harris. Line drive to center. And if you're a pitcher and you're in this spot and it's the very first inning, I think this is a good way to approach it. You don't try to strike every single batter out. You just make sure you get the batters out and you minimize the damage. Even though this is not a great pitch, he gets an out on it. One run scores. Who cares? Reset. You're going to have to score one anyway. Next batter, Connor Norby. First pitch slider, and he's able to get the immediate double play. So from what looked like potentially a big inning, they don't get the double play. They throw it away. He is able to regroup and keep it at the one run. Let's see how he does it here to Ruiz.
Nothing and one the count on Esteury Ruiz, who's batting fifth for Clayton McCullough tonight. Obviously, as you can see, with all the lefties on the bench.
Not sure I would have guessed Chris Sale would be still basically as good as he was in his prime on a per inning basis, given all the injuries. I wouldn't have either. I would have thought this would have declined a little bit, but he is, you talk about being different. I mean, the body's just different. He's Gumby. He's literally Gumby. He's giant Gumby. He's just a different body type. So impressive guy to watch up close. Such a hard worker, such a unique individual. But he's been able to do it, man. And he also pitches with some of the most electric level of intent of any guy I've ever played with. So he has an ability to kind of will himself to throw harder when he needs to, which is a pretty cool trick. Like, that's 97. 97, 37 years old. 3-2 sweeper fouled off there, and then he's going to punch him with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball here. That up and away spot, really hard to hit it, and he's through the first inning. All right, second inning. Let's see how he starts going here. 2-0 count, fastball in, fly ball. If you're going to give up a fly ball in Miami, that's where you want it, to center, as that ball's well hit by Leo Jimenez. Nice play by Michael Harris. Now a one pitch out to Morel. See, Morel's just doing him a favor here, swinging at this first pitch slider. I know it's a decent little swing, but you want to see some pitches off Sale for sure. Fly ball to the left, easy out. And then he's going to strike out Hicks, who's been really good for them with a slider, because left on left is just borderline unfair versus Chris Sale. I mean, you look at the arm slot. He's so good. Nasty, dirty. Third inning. Were you and Sandy with Boston at the same time? No, he got let go the year before I was there. I know him and Sale worked together really well, so it makes sense that he's catching him in this game. Four-seam pop-up there. He's going to get it out here on a fastball. What team does Sale go into the Hall of Fame with?
All right, X, not very happy.
That's a good question. Probably played the longest with the White Sox, but he was also with the Red Sox for a long time. Closed out a World Series. He's got the Cy Young with the Braves. He might be a no logo on the cap guy. Lopez infield hit on a changeup, and then a 3-pitch strikeout of Heriberto Hernandez to finish out the third. Little chase sweeper below the zone. I guess that's a slider, but it's really a hybrid, I guess. On to the fourth inning, strikeout coming on a slider. Career 5.8% walk and low home run rate too. Weird delivery, weird angle, plus velo, plus command. Nothing not to like. Nothing not to like. I agree. He does absolutely everything well. And he throws with the goofy hand, which is always nice. I think when he was younger, people used to say, oh, this guy's a definite injury, long-term injury risk and won't last. Yeah, he had the Tommy John. I mean, who hasn't at this point? Look at this pitch. What a rainbow. But other than that, I mean, he's posted a ton of innings in his career, so he largely put a lot of that to bed. Most of his injuries were freak injuries, like falling off a bike or getting hit in the finger, yada, yada, yada. All right, 2-strike here. Leo Jimenez, who's actually had 2 tremendous swings in this game. The long fly out and then stays inside a fastball there for a hit. But Sale will end the inning to Morel on a heater. Fastball down, chopped in the ground to Dubon. Makes the long throw. Great pick by Olsen. On to the 5th inning. Hicks going to get him out with a slider. How have the best pitchers of the generation, Scherzer, Verlander, DeGrom, and Sale, managed to maintain and even increase their velocity in their mid to late 30s? Kershaw is the exception. Not an easy thing to do. Verlander did not increase his velocity. He was able to maintain it pretty well. Scherzer didn't increase it either. He was able to maintain it pretty well. There's no secrets. It's hard work. It's learning how to manage that. And it's also, a lot of these guys weren't throwing the way like Mizorowski does, for example. There's a line out for the second out of the 5th. And then a really quick 5th inning as he gets a 1-pitch out here to Edwards. So a lot of it's the maintenance factor, how much effort you put into the maintenance and how you understand what makes you throw hard. I think one thing that happened with Kirsch is Kirsch had the work ethic parked down. He's like one of the hardest working pitchers ever, but I think his delivery and the nature of the way he threw was never going to age very well. He would have had to make mechanical changes to maintain a level of velocity, and ultimately his delivery allowed him to execute and still be effective with less velocity, so I wouldn't tell him to change. But I think a lot of it is just that these guys didn't redline their velo all the time. They used it when they needed to. Verlander's the biggest example of that. And, there's a little bit of a genetic freak stuff with these guys as well. And also just that grit factor that I talked about, like with Sale, like just willing yourself to throw hard sometimes is a real thing. And some of the very best pitchers are able to do that. Scherzer included, Verlander included, Sale included. They have a different level of conviction they can tap into. Great slider there. And then he's going to finish out his 6th inning with a 4-seam. Still 97 here in the 6th. So he goes ahead and jams Connor Norby. And we are on to the 7th. Sale had 763 punches in Boston from 17, 18, 19. I know, and that's why I don't want to totally dismiss Boston as one of his teams, RESX, because you're right. He was lethal the first 3 years in Boston. Maybe that's his real prime, to be honest. Slider there, first out in the 7th. Called strike coming here. This is 98 to Owen Casey. Good luck. 98 dotted away. I mean, you just cannot stress how nasty this is. This is ridiculous. Just left to right, screaming heater. I mean, Casey's reaction says it all. Just dumbfounded. And then his last batter, Morel again, he's going to get him out with a slider. This one's actually hit semi-hard on a hop to Riley, but just another ho-hum start for Chris Sale. He might be your leader in the clubhouse National League Cy Young. This is going to be a very tight race. A lot of people are going to be in on that. But he might be your leader in the clubhouse right now, Chris Sale. All right, what else we got here in the chat? I want to say Braves could easily be Boston. If he got in, I'd put him in as a White Sox. I think he had the most time with the White Sox. Let's investigate it for a second before we hop into another topic. Let's just look at him from Baseball Reference, because at the end of the day, Baseball Reference is big for Hall of Fame type information. All right, so all right, 7 years with the White Sox, 6 with the Red Sox, now 3 and counting with the Braves. He threw 228 games, 148 starts for the White Sox over those 7 years and put up 30.2 WAR, far outclassing the other places he played in. Over 1,000 innings as a White Sox. 135 ERA plus. Now, those years with Boston, he did go to another level. 115 starts, 3.27 ERA, 17 WAR. He mentioned it before. 945 strikeouts and only 670 innings with Boston is insanely good. So in a way, he kind of did elevate. That's 12 strikeouts per 9 in his time in Boston. 140 ERA plus. But I'd still give the nod probably to the White Sox there over that because of the bulk. And then Atlanta, he's been even better. 2.44 FIP, 174 ERA plus, 2.36 ERA in 60 games. So he's been even better in a way, but I don't think he'll have the longevity. So I would say I would lean White Sox at this point, even though he doesn't have the World Series with them or the Cy Young with them. that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. That's a tough one, though. That's a really tough one, guys. You know what I was thinking, though, while we're here on reference? What do you think his similarity scores are? Let's see. Johan Santana is his number 1. Garrett Cole, number 2. David Price, Cliff Lee, Roy Oswalt. Now we get to the Hall of Famer Sandy Koufax, Jared Weaver, Dizzy Dean, Lance Lynn, Harry Brecheen. So not as insane as what we looked at Freddie Freeman the other day, but a lot of guys that are close to Hall of Fame or Hall of Fame level. And interesting. I thought maybe he would even be a little higher than that with the names we're seeing, but maybe he'll get there after another year or so when those similarity scores shift. All right, back to the solo. Crazy, it feels like Sale was forgotten there for a bit with Kershaw, Price, Verlander, Scherzer, Felix, DeGrom, always been slept on, always. And he was like a top 10 Cy Young finisher, I don't know, 100 times. So, you know, it's just like he didn't win the award till finally with the Braves. So definitely overshadowed a little bit. One of my favorite random facts, yes, this is a good one. DeGrom with a left-on-left home run off Sale in college. Dope. Stetson versus Florida Gulf Coast. Sick. Braves reporter asked Sandy how he maintains his fitness. Sale at 38. Oh, Sandy Leone. Sandy said he went to play Venezuela in winter ball last year. Easy to maintain if you don't stop. Totally agree with that. That's why my shoulder hurt so much in WBC, because I had stopped throwing. So, pretty crazy. I remember a local radio guy in Chicago saying it was stupid to try him as a starter in 2012. That aged like milk. Aged like milk. Shohei is definitely the front runner. Hashtag not biased. Shohei's in there too. I don't know if I put him in the leader in the clubhouse though. Sale's got probably better stats except for ERA so far. So pretty close. Pretty close. I think he's short of Hall of Fame right now. Plenty of time to add to it more, especially if he adds a Cy Young. I think he's in. I don't know. I mean, I have to do a longer review on it, but I think he should be in. I think he should be in, personally. All right, back to the mains. I want to take a quick break from pitcher watching to watch Juan Soto at the plate. Juan Soto had a 2-homer game yesterday, or recently. I think it was yesterday, even though it was a loss. He is not having a problem this year. He is the same old Juan Soto. Look at that Savant page. All red, and he's still not even getting to the optimal launch angle sweet spot. So once he does that, watch out in the power department. 299, 392. He's got a 416 career on base. I mean, this guy's unreal. I've never seen a guy at the plate with so much mental freedom as Juan Soto is featuring right now. So let's watch him demolish his old team, albeit in a loss. And just these pitchers have no idea what they're up against when they're facing this guy, because he's just levitating above the rest of the league. So we'll watch all 4 at-bats. I know he gets out twice, but he also parks 2 balls. First at-bat versus Littell. It's a 4-seam up. Almost homers on that. Swing is built to control the top of the zone, which is great for modern baseball. That flat turn of the shoulders. Doesn't quite clip it. Only hits it 97. But a beautiful play out there by Dylan Cruz. And Littell breathes a sigh of relief here in the first inning with a 1-pitch out to Soto. Doesn't get so lucky this next time. First pitch fastball coming here. That's a take down in. Now to the slider. I mean, Juan Soto's literally cheesing in the box, literally smiling in the box and talking to the catcher and the umpire throughout at-bats, because he literally has that much mental freedom. Shows bunt here. Says, oh, okay, you want to throw me some strikes? I'll get ready to hit, and kaboom. That's just center cut. You can't throw that to Juan Soto. And now he says, all right, I needed to hit it just a little higher, a little farther to the right. Bangs it off of the wall. 111 miles an hour at 25, 416 feet. Drops the hammer on the Nats. This pitch is just absolutely center cut.
I don't know how many guys have ever drawn a ball like fair.
And then he does that.
Yeah, I know that the pitching thing is tough. It's tight right now. Skeen, Sanchez, Miz, Sale, Shohei, those guys are all really in it. I know that Spectre wants to compare the stats right now, but you know, maybe in the Discord, or you can do it in the chat for a little bit. But it's going to be a really tight, really tight race. Let's watch Soto from the backside, because we don't usually watch this too much. That's a man who's hit a few homers in his day. And then the third base side. For all of the launch angle advocates, I see you and I raise you a Juan Soto approach. Level swing, can cover the velo at the top, can cover every pitch type, and when the pitch is low, I'll use my lower half to go and meet it and get under the ball as I still continue to slice it and create backspin. So Juan Soto, I mean, look, Judge, you want to talk Judge, you want to talk Witt, you want to talk Trout, you want to talk Ohtani, you want to talk Yordan Alvarez. Maybe Yordan is on Soto's level. I really think Soto's the best hitter in the world in terms of approach and swing. I think Judge is a little better because of his overall physical ability, but Juan Soto, the consistency, he's Ted Williams, you know. We're never going to forget having watched Juan Soto hit. So there's the first home run of the day. Next at bat, he's going to get out here. Let's see what happens. It's left on left, Mr. Alvarez. You see, the problem with Juan Soto approach is there's one Juan Soto. You're right, but can we not learn something from Juan Soto? I mean, I feel like everybody's trying to emulate Judge, when to me, Judge is more of a one-of-one body type. Juan Soto can maybe be, you know, emulated a little more by other body types just because he's not such a physical monster. So, all right, gets out here on a slider, kind of slices off, it happens, and that leads us to his last at-bat versus the same pitcher. So sees both pitchers twice and homers off both of them in the second at-bat. Pure skills at the plate, I think he's the best in the world. I think Judge outshines him and Yordan a little bit because of how big they are, so it's easier to generate more pop. But I think Soto is he's unpitchable. So that's a pretty good place to start. Slider here, wham. So a couple mistakes in the middle and you don't get those back. He was a millimeter away from a 3-homer day. And you got to wonder what it's like to go back to Washington, a place where he demolished everybody as a very young guy, all the way to the World Series in 19. And now he's back just smashing home runs against them a couple times a year in Nats Park. 109 at 35. Here he is from third base, hitting a breaking ball. I mean, look at the adjustability with the lower half. Look how low he gets and how much he's in his legs. It's just something that's just not taught that much anymore. But for me, this is a separator for Juan and why it makes him unpitchable a lot of the time. There's no fastball shape that he can't cover, you know. So anyway, he's awesome to watch. You know, he's been great. Bichette's been swinging it well. I know the Mets lost the last 2 games. Hopefully they can bounce back today. I didn't understand why Kimbrel was throwing in a 3rd straight frame yesterday. That was super weird, but I guess that's kind of the spot they were in. As for Thornton, we watched him. I did a watching video on him. Definitely feel like the Mets are just in a rock and a hard place, and that's why he's up there. But I'd like to watch him pitch a little more. He's known for his command. I feel like that betrayed him a tiny bit in that game. But again, this is kind of where the Mets are, and also indicative that Tong didn't get the first shot. I think he might get called up again this week, but their rotation's in trouble if they don't get healthy soon. All right, back to the solo for a minute. If you're going to talk about mechanical, you got to talk about Carson Bench hitting 355 his last 25 games. Yeah, we've already talked about it. He's adjusted his stance. He's less open. He's a little bit more on top of the ball. I believe he's starting his load a little bit earlier, and he's much more anticipatory about what pitches are coming to him. So Benj is making the adjustments. I'm a big fan of Benj. Like, I just think it was obvious that the swing needed to be cleaned up. The load needed to be cleaned up. Something needed to be made a little bit more efficient to give him a chance. Are you saying he's the Steph Curry to Judge's LeBron James? That's a pretty good analogy. Juan Soto, Steph Curry, full, or Kyrie Irving maybe, like full skill based, but not a physical freak in the same way of like a LeBron James or an Aaron Judge. I think that's fair. If you're going to talk about Kevin McGonigal, got to talk about Carson Bench. I haven't talked about Kevin McGonigal in a while, but he's a really good hitter. You know, Ewing actually gives me a little bit of McGonigal vibes, which I don't know if he's quite on that level, but swing decisions, shortness to the ball, combining some good tactics at the plate. I like him a lot. I think the main driver in his whole package is his otherworldly eye and ability to control the zone. Yes, but don't think swing path doesn't play into that, because if you don't have an efficient swing path, then you have to start earlier and you make worse decisions. So Juan Soto, it all starts with beautiful mechanics and then a beautiful ability to see the ball. I don't know if he has better than average vision, I would imagine, because he picks it up right out of the hand, and his swing decisions are second to none. No doubt about that. And yes, he feels inevitable, like a peak Miggy or peak Albert. He's that good. Soto has a legit chance to be the second guy after Trout to compile 100 F-WAR since like A-Rod. I think he'll eventually surpass Pujols, Cabrera, Judge, etc. His longevity is going to be studied. I mean, he's going to play 20 years in the show and put up numbers. I mean, he's going to have a shot at breaking big-time records. It's going to be very interesting to see. All right, we're going to get back to another pitcher here. Going to get back to another pitcher here, and it's Kyle Harrison. Kyle Harrison, we watched him last week. We noted the move over on the rubber. Everything's trending more left to right, but he really had it going last night, so I'm curious to watch exactly how he had it, what he was feeling with it last night in a rivalry game against the Cubs. Red Sox gave this guy up for nothing. So, in a way, you know, it's just pretty sad. You know, Caleb Durbin's off to not the best start with the Sox. So we'll see. The arm slot's a little bit higher, so that gained him a little bit more backspin on the ball, Kyle Harrison, but also it's still a below average release height, and now he's created a little bit of a horizontal approach angle. So that's the biggest thing. Throwing a ton of fastballs, but I think it's a very, very good fastball. So anyway, 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, 11 punchies. Breakdown, 64 fastballs. That's kind of unique to throw that many fastballs this day and age. 28 slurves, which is now he's created a beautiful tunnel for those 2 pitches to deviate late on. And 2 changeups. I mean, he got 43% whiff on fastball. If you're doing that, you can throw it. You can throw it a lot, and you're going to get pop-ups and strikeouts. So let's check it out. Cubbies and Brew Crew. The Brew Crew. Here he is. All right, the first batter is Nico Hoerner. The foot move on the rubber is huge, in my opinion. I totally agree. It created an angle now that his pitches are harder to discern, and you know, ultimately made his fastball better too. So leadoff slurve hit by Nico, and then he's going to get Bregman here on a 2-1 4-seam up to, you know, actually a really good swing, but not enough juice on that. Didn't quite get it. Something about that got a little bit off the barrel, flies it out to left center. And Nico ends up going to third. Was he out? Did they review that? Yeah, he was out. So that ends up being a double play. We got to go back to that then. High home. Who made this throw? This is a great throw. This is also a great camera angle. What a beautiful, beautiful night in Wrigley. Check out this beautiful throw by Garrett Mitchell. Yeah, we'll get to Shohei. We'll watch Shohei. Don't worry. Shohei, I think, should be next. What a throw. Oh, my God. From look where he is. Catch. A little bit of a delayed reaction on the run by Nico. But a perfect throw out there in the outfield. Garrett Mitchell, absolute hose. This is a great throw. Team should just refuse to trade with the Brewers. They said that's about the Rays for a long time. All right, so 2 outs on 1 swing there, and then he's going to punch out Happer on the backdoor slurve to finish the first. Very nice pitch there. On to the second. Leadoff walk to Seiya. So didn't start off perfect in this game, but it sure ended up in a good spot. Here is Carson Kelly. There's that fastball. You can see how that angle is just left to right and riding up in on it because he gained more vert on the fastball, raising that arm slot. So 16 verts above average, plus he's low height, plus he's got plenty of velo, plus it's going left to right. A lot of combining a ton of factors here has made this pitch really good. And as long as he's speeding up hitters up and in with it, it's going to be effective. And that's what you see here for the strikeout to Carson Kelly. Here's another strikeout. This one is Michael Busch. I mean, that shows you the fastball is pretty special when that is right in his honey hole and he is underneath that. So this ball stayed up really nice, 97 miles an hour, and swinging at nothing but air. And then he's going to go ahead and get Dansby out to end the second on another fastball up in. That's the ultimate location he wants to live at with righties, up in. They're not really going to be able to hit that. Velocity definitely trending up, kind of to where he was in his prospect days. So this is the spot I'm talking about. He wants to live right here against righties. It's going to be a challenge to catch up to that pitch. And that's where he gets it on Dansby and pops him up for the end of the second inning. Third inning, Miguel Amaya. 96. What was he last year? A little bit lower. A little bit lower. I think like average like 90 in the 93 range last year. Another fly out. This one was on a changeup from Maya. And then here's PCA, who had a really tough day at the plate. Catches him looking with a fastball up and away. And he's got that reaction that we all love to see as pitchers. Just demoralized. All right, on to the next. Nico Horner doubled the first time on a slurve. This time he's going to get him out on a fastball. Kind of middle. Garrett Mitchell, heck of a center fielder, runs that down, and it's an easy third inning. On to the fourth inning. Bregman flew him out on a four-seam the first time, flies him out on a four-seam the second time. What did I tell you about that location? Look where he gets it. Right there. Not a lot you can do. I don't care how quick you are, how short your arms are. Bregman's got the T-Rex arms. It doesn't matter. Can't get to this pitch. Perfect pitch. Jams him. Only hits it 86. That's a fly out every single day of the week. Ian Happ, 3-pitch strikeout. Second strikeout of Happ, both on slurves. Both backdoor and a little bit below the zone slurves. And Happ can't lay off that. Nasty. 2 outs. That brings up Seiya, and he's going to punch him with that 96 up and away swing through spot. So I think with lefties, lefty pitching to righty, Kyle Harrison, this type of fastball, he's going to want to challenge them in the zone here. And then when he wants to go for the put away with the four seam, he's going to want to come up in this region because that pitch is going to be tough and they're going to have some indecision whether to swing on it, whether that's a slurve or a fastball. And then he's just trying to bury slurves down here or backdoor down here. And it's really that simple. But the whole key is activating that four-seam up in for a strike that he did, that we saw against Bregman, etc. All right, on to the fifth inning. Another strikeout. This one's on a slurve to Carson Kelly. Once again, that ball's trending like it's a backdoor fastball. Nope, bottoms out. So I think the movement on the rubber, I saw Lance kind of undersold it on his Substack today. But I think that's the biggest change, even more so than the arm angle for me.
To the right side, Terrain. Bushes out.
Little ground out there. And 3-pitch strikeout of Dansby. Another fastball, maintaining that 96. Very deep into this game. And that's another example of that swing through. You know, the guys are just not getting on plane with it. It's sort of the Peyton Tolley approach. He's got horizontal approach angle, vertical approach angle, spin. He's got velocity. He's got release height. He's got all of it going, and location. So when he has that going, that's what we're seeing. So cruising through 5. On to the 6th. Another strikeout here. Man, he had a whole strikeout binge here. Here's Miguel Amaya. Fastball up and in. No chance at that. Who's next, says the barber. Oh, PCA, you want to strike out again? You got it, buddy. Four-seam up and away. See you later. He is just demoralized at the plate right now. Demoralized. All right. Who's next? Nico. Slurve. A little bit of an emergency hack fly out to Frelick. So he's beautiful through 6. On to the 7th. Bregman trying to get on a four-seam. This time he's lucky, gets it off the end, dunks it into center. So leadoff man on in the 7th. 3-pitch strikeout immediately to Happ. So Happ got the hat trick versus Harrison. 2 slurves and that fastball up and away swing through. Harrison, full ownage on Ian Happ. How about the Mets? How about trading the Mets Peralta for Harrison? No. Peralta's about to be a free agent. Now they feel like they're happy with Harrison now. They're not going to give him up now. In play outs, that's a challenge heater to Seiya. You can do that with a 5-run lead. Right down the middle, pops it up. And in play outs to finish this outing to Carson Kelly. There it is, that fastball up and in spot. Still throwing 95-7 here on pitch number 94 of his outing. So a dominant 7 innings driven by the fastball. What they've done with him has been very impressive. It's a simple change. He's actually pared down his arsenal somewhat. But, yeah, man, just the ability to have a fastball that really plays such a cheat code versus righties. He speeds everyone up, and then that slurve drops off the table. They have some spin, or they have some element of spin mirroring here whenever you see a nice diagonal line between the fastball and the breaking ball. One spin and backspin, one spin and topspin, almost in a mirrored way. Hard to pick up. Got separation on speed. Really, it's everything. Arm angle, 33 degrees this year. Last year, he was coming in at 27. So getting that arm up a little bit added a little more induced vertical break to the fastball. We can see that right here. This year, he's averaging 15 inches. In 25, he was averaging 12. That's 12 and a half. So that's 2.5 inches difference. That's a big difference in baseball. Not to mention, if you're still low release height, it's going to play anyway. So you might as well gain the induced vertical break. That plays in your favor. Also, we talked about the velocity. He had good velocity last year, 94.6. This year, he's averaging 94.8, but I feel like he's topping out a little bit higher at times. What you don't want to see is when he was at 92.6 and 24, when the Giants kind of pulled the chute on him. But now he's got his velo back, he's got his shape back, he's standing on the better side of the rubber. Really, everything has trended well, and these two pitches are absolutely dominating, so he's been great for the Brewers. Between him and Mizorowski, they've been awesome. They've been awesome. All right, back to the chat for a minute. Didn't PCA yell at a fan the other day? Yeah, this was a little bit of an unfortunate incident. Gotten into it with a lady on her bachelorette party or something at the White Sox. I can tell you firsthand, that White Sox stadium can be quite hostile. And I've talked back to plenty of fans, but I will say he should not have said what he said. You cannot curse out a fan like that. He knows that. That was a mistake. He'll learn from that. But you can be clever and be witty and pop back at a fan. If they're going to talk to you, we can have a human interaction. But you can't step out of line like he did. That was a mistake, and he was rightfully fined for that, for sure. All right, what else we got here? Getting paid $100 million and demoted in the same year for PCA. I don't know if they'll ever really demote him because they need him on defense and they believe in him, but man, the hitting has been really in a rough spot since midway through last season. Teams know that they kind of know how to pitch him now, and he hasn't adjusted to that yet. My favorite part of this show is that AO is a positive guy who seems to. I do get joy. I do get joy out of watching this. I do this show for fun. I love you guys. So this is a blast. I love watching baseball. Harrison has same pitch mix as Peterson. No, not quite. Actually, not at all. Not at all the same. Peterson's more of a two fastball, four seam sinker, changeup. He's got a slider. It's more of a gyro. Harrison, he's got a curveball too. That's a little similar to Harrison's, but they're not the same. Different arm angle, everything. Uncle Ted, he said, good luck, don't getting sick. Yeah, close, but not really. Not everyone can be Jeff Francoeur and make friends with fans who start off hostile. Yeah, I mean, Jeff Francoeur is one of the more disarming people that's ever existed, so that makes sense. He's speedrunning the Javi Baez career arc. He kind of is, yeah. Thought Sadon and PCA were the same player, but batting-wise, but it looks like Sadon made good adjustments compared to his bad slump last year's PCA. So I think PCA's ceiling in the box actually is higher than Sadon, but his floor is way lower. You're right. Sadon's swing gives him a little more of a chance, and he's a little less reckless than PCA making adjustments. I just want to see what PCA looks like in a few years. Hopefully he's great in a few years. This is all still in development. Haven't gotten there yet. Haven't gotten there yet at all. So... PCA needs Nimmo's demeanor. I don't think that's totally fair either. Like, what makes him a fiery, great player is his attitude, but, you got to learn to harness it in the right place. You know what I'm saying? Harness it in the right place. All right, it is Shohei time. It is Shohei time. I know, Spectre, I always do the Dodgers a little too slow for you. I get it, but, it's crazy to be overshadowed by some of these other pitching performances, but I do think he was a bit overshadowed. So here's Shohei's day yesterday. He goes 1 for 4 at the plate, scored 2 runs, hit a home run on the first pitch of the game, which we'll watch. He also pitched 5 innings, allowing no runs, 3 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 88 pitches. He is down to a .73 ERA, and that's his biggest argument for the Cy Young so far, because in terms of innings and stuff, I don't think he can really touch where Sale's at or Christopher Sanchez, but in terms of runs allowed, I mean, shoot. 49 innings, .73 ERA is pretty good. Pretty good. I have to find, I'm on MLB Now today, so I need to find out what time. 12:35. All right, so we still got time. We got another 20 minutes to get through this. All right, Shohei Ohtani, Dodgers versus Padres. What was the breakdown on the mound? 36 sweepers to lead it off. He faced a ton of righties, that's why. 34 four-seamers, 8 splits, 7 sinkers, 3 curveballs. Got some whiff with sweeper and sinker, actually. Not a ton other. First pitch strikes, that's probably why he didn't get deep in the game. He wasn't as efficient. But anyway, let's watch the Shohei show. Dodgers, Padres. Dodgers win the series in San Diego in a very fun series. That rivalry is becoming real. I love when the games are down there in San Diego. They're pretty cool. So, Shohei Ohtani, first we'll watch the hitting part of it. He starts off the game absolutely demolishing this first pitch of the game off of Vasquez. Wham! Top of the zone heater. He doesn't care. Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. Home run. Merrill tries to leap in and almost got it, to be honest with you. But Shohei always has a little special wind blowing that ball. You know what I'm saying? Some guys just get all the help you need. 111.3 at 39. So he hit it a little too high, but a 111.3 will help you out quite a bit. That ball went way, 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 way back. Here's Shohei from the side. He does such a good job of hitting from behind the ball and putting like that like thrust into it. I mean, he's just insane. So good job by him. Home run. That's what he did on the offensive side. I know he scored another run. We'll watch it once again here in real time, because I also want to check out Jackson Merrill one more time on this. This was a great attempt, and I think he hurt his back, but he was way up there. Almost a Bartman sitch. Dodger fan out there. And I think Jackson Merrill might have banged his back a little bit, but great effort there. So that's it on the... That is it for the hitting side of Shohei. Also a good sign that Mookie got on base 3 times yesterday. Freddie on twice. Tucker on 3 times. So they looked pretty good. But let's watch Shohei's 88 pitches on the mound. All right, first up, Tatis, still without a home run. Starts the game off with a sweeper, so the respect is still there. But that's a very slow sweeper to Shohei. Let's watch how he toggles his velo as this game goes on. 81 sweeper, 98 fastball to the backstop, and we are underway. Another sweeper. Very slow sweepers for him. He can be up to 88 with the sweeper. 2-1 heater, middle away, half swing foul ball.
He's going to challenge you. Stuff moves. That sweeper. Just saw it right there. It was one of his better pitches. Recently he's been...
And in play outs here on a sweeper at 85. I mentioned how he's going to change the speed on that. Little ground ball to him, little flickaroo to first, 1 out in the first. Here is Miguel Andujar. Yeah, PCA's got like a Lenny Dykstra demeanor. I mean, you have to live with it a little bit. You want to harness it, but having some piss and vinegar in your game, not a bad thing. It's just, you got to figure out how to harness it. That's all. I mean, what makes him great makes him vulnerable, makes him too aggressive, and he swings at too much crap. So it's like, you have to harness it much more than you want him to change. I would never take away who he is. The spirit of who PCA is real, and it works. It's just a matter of, again, small adjustments here as we go. Well, this is a long at-bat here with Andujar. PCA is already a 2-WAR player this year, too, to be fair, so that's good. Remember that pitch and result from Tatis. This will be important later. Oh, that sweeper down and away, little check swing. What has happened to Tatis? We've talked about it a lot. He's got like the 3rd lowest launch angle in the game. I feel like in a way he might have tried to make some adjustments to make the leap to like the best player in the league. And maybe that backfired because he's just not pulling the ball in the air. And it's weird because he did it in the WBC, but something's blocking him up. And unfortunately, it starts to leak into the mentality over time. It's a great at-bat, great battle here. Just because you start to press a little bit. So I think he's pressing a little bit too at this point. Ooh, nasty sweeper right there up to 87 as he works through that to get Andujar out. And that will bring up Gavin Sheets, who's been the best hitter on the Padres the last little while. Gavin Sheets single-handedly being the power source of this club, which is pretty interesting. Also, I saw somebody asking earlier, not sure it was made of it, but what do we think of Grounds Crew merch? I want to make some. I haven't done much about that yet. I've been very busy this week. But when I'm on the plane, I think out to Anaheim on Saturday, I'll probably start conceptualizing, you know, some grounds crew stuff, maybe a logo, something good, and then, you know, we'll figure out how to implement that into merch. I also really need to put those t-shirts up on the shop. I should have done that already, but I'll do that too. Fun fact, I'm mailing a hat, one of these today, to somebody in Ireland, so that's pretty cool. Baseball and coffee getting pretty international. And so he ends the first there with a 99-mile-an-hour heater. Second inning, Manny Machado, little face shave on the first pitch as he's attacking him with fastballs. Ohtani is throwing in the middle of the zone. It's not getting punished. It's just, is it just due to pure stuff? Yeah, he's got great stuff. He varies it up a lot. Even within a single pitch type, you know, you're getting multiple types of options. And I think this fastball's become weird. It doesn't have a huge amount of lift anymore. It's got a little perceived cut to it. You don't see a ton of pitches, a ton of fastballs in the league with his shape. And I think that's part of it. But, you know, honestly, not every game is he just all down the middle. A lot of times he does make a lot of good pitches to the edges. But that was the case in this game quite a bit. And the Padres are not hitting very well. Hats, grounds crew. Hell yeah. Ever been to Ireland? No, would love to go. Pulling a tarp over the field to stop spilled coffee getting on it. I like your vision. Gets bogey with a fastball. 2 outs in the second. Here's Merrill. Definitely need an artist commission to make a baseball field out of coffee grounds and us crew cleaning it up or brewing it. We'll come up with something good. We'll come up with something good. I saw someone wearing a baseball and coffee hat on a big SEC podcast. That's great. Love that. Isn't that something to do with Tommy John? I know Oviedo started cutting his fastball more after his surgery too. This is a great question. I'm going to take a moment to break this down after this at-bat when he finishes it with Merrill. Sweeper back door. Foul ball coming here on a fastball. He really uses the full spectrum of speeds, Shohei. He'll go as low as 73 on the curve, up as high as 100 on the fastball. That's a lot to cover. And then he has like a devastating plus-plus split that he doesn't break out that often, but when he does, like this one's game over. It says negative vert at 90. Look at the drop on this pitch. Just vicious drop. So nice strikeout to end the second. All right, quick pause in our moment just so I can talk about okay, the little bit of perceived cut on your fastball after Tommy John. We're talking about Oviedo cutting a little more, Shohei cutting it a little more. Here's my breakdown on that. Okay, so a lot of times when guys end up getting hurt on their elbow, it's not always from the valgus torque. A lot of times it's from banging into extension and damaging that ligament kind of on the back end of your delivery. That's what happened to me. I have a hyperextended left elbow. You can see it goes kind of reverse. So my right arm used to do that. So I would like constantly like bang on it at the end of extension. So when we did my surgery, part of the goal was to not allow me to get to such extreme extension anymore. So when we retightened up my arm and rehabbed it, we only rehabbed it back to neutral or even slightly flexed from neutral. So now that your arm is not going to as much extreme extension anymore, think about that. When you go to release the ball, when you're at full extension, you know, you're getting here and you're really behind it and you're getting that natural lift. But if your arm is cocked and you don't have full extension of your elbow anymore, when you come through, you are naturally cutting the ball off a little more. You're not able to fully get through that ball with your hand. So now you are cutting the ball a touch, and that's why I think you see this shape show up sometimes with guys who had UCL reconstruction, aka Tommy John surgery. They have a little less elbow extension. Now their hand comes through the ball at a slightly different angle. It's not creating the same amount of lift, and you're getting that little perceived cut action to it. So that's my thesis on that, and that's why I think you're seeing that. Great comment by Zach, because that really piqued my intrigue right there. Rocking a baseball coffee hat in the Smoky Mountains. That'll be me during the All-Star break when I go to our vacation. Can't wait. All right, we are on to the third inning. Nick Castellanos leads it off. Sweeper, swing and miss. And four-seam coming here. Up and away. Pretty good pass at that, but that's deep, deep, deep out there. Kyle Tucker runs that down. He hit that pretty hard, huh? 95 miles an hour off the bat. Ooh, 9-pitch at bat with Razor Ramon Laureano. Fastball away, ball one. I'm just going to keep my eyes away for a moment. I'll let you guys watch this on your own for a sec. I need to order some food for myself before I die of starvation.
Just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just thinking.
Absolutely. That was a huffing and a puffing.
1-2 to Laureano.
1-2 count.
He has retired the first 7. He has faced tonight 3 by way of the K. And a pop-up foul back in our general direction.
Phone's not gotten very good.
Did you ever make contact?
Very rarely.
Service right now. Wow. Interesting point you make, and it brings up the arm sleeve that Ohtani now wears. It toggles to tighten the compression to actually limit his extension even more. Yeah, I'm assuming that he was coming down so violently through his release that at times he was banging his elbow on that extension. You know, you see guys with like stress fractures in their arm, olecranon stuff on the backside, you know, maybe even some bone stuff. I mean, a lot of what you're seeing, a lot of times that's what it is. You're just overextending on your finish. So, you know, there's no doubt that that's a factor. There's a punch out with a sinker, 3-2. I mean, to be able to throw this pitch in there after he hasn't seen that is a pretty good cheat code. Strikeout there of Razor Ramon. You see him dial it when hitting, so his finish doesn't allow his right elbow to reach full extension, hyperextension. Yeah, I'm guessing that was an issue with his elbow. The hitting, the constant extending and flexing of the elbow joint can be tough. Is he wearing a whoop as well? Probably. A lot of pitchers do. I never wanted to wear a tracker like that in season because I felt like if it told me I was 40% ready to play, then that would leak into my mentality. So I would wear like an Aura ring in the off season. All right, little sweeper here. Fermin's going to pop that up, and he is through 3 innings. It gets exciting in the 5th. 4th inning, Tatis. So somehow he faces the minimum through 3. First pitch split to Tatis. Maybe that was a sinker. I don't know. Kind of a weird pitch there.
Back to Ohtani in the first.
Curveball down. That's the first usage of the slow one to Tatis we've seen in a while.
He likes to, kind of drop and drive. Watch that back leg, drop and drive. Use that whole body, not just using the arm.
2-1, 3-1. So 3-1. Instead of going 4-seam, though, he switches to sinker. And there's a walk. So Tatis on, leading off the 4th. On to Andujar, who had a long at-bat the first time. Sweeper down, caps it to first. Freddie goes to second, and Mookie hangs on for an out there. Very nice. All right, next up is Sheets. Splitter coming here. Remember, man on first, 1 out. Caps that one foul. Strike 2 there, 0-2 count, and then Sheets is going to get a hit here. 98-6, but he throws it down the middle. Sheets is able to inside it out to left. So first and second, 1 out. That's going to bring up Machado. First pitch sweeper for a ball. 4-seam middle down. He's late and fouls that one off. Sweeper up, no bueno, and then another sweeper. So heavy sweeper usage to Machado. Honestly, that's a great pitch to hit. Gets away with that one, pops it up. So I think part of it is his sweeper is really that good. Like that had 20 inches of movement, and it stayed up on Manny, but you got to hit that. Like you're only going to get a few pitches a game that you got to capitalize on. That's one of them. All right, so 2 outs, 2 on. Xander Bogaerts, and immediately Shohei knows I got to dial it up. 100 miles an hour on that first pitch.
Strike call.
Yeah, that's firm.
There's our answer.
Did I ever wear a fighting necklace? Hell yeah. That was all the rage. Going even back to college probably, but definitely in the minors and a little bit through my pro career. I mean, it worked for my guys like Josh Beckett, who was somebody that I used to idolize at one point. So hell yeah, I used the fighting. 97-5, good pass by Bogey, but that's far enough away from him that he gets it off the end. And he's through the 4th. All right, the 5th inning was exciting. This one got interesting because it's a 3-0 lead, and the Padres put together a nice rally here, and Shohei has to dig deep. First up is Johnson.
Craig Stammen hoping for some offense.
All right, 2-1 and a leadoff hit on a fastball. Little jam hit. So good pitch by Shohei, but that's into no man's land, and the leadoff man is aboard. Here comes Nick Castellanos. Foul ball. What MLB hitters have hit Ohtani the best? I guess we could research that. But I don't know. Maybe somebody AL West, NL West, not really sure. I mean, he's got probably one of the lowest opposing batting averages ever for the amount of innings he's thrown. So the likely answer is not many people have hit him well at all, to be honest with you. Sweeper here, tipped off of Will Smith, and then four-seam to Castellanos, and the first two are going to reach. Line drive base hit.
Johnson will head to third base.
So first and third, no outs. Let's watch how Shohei is able to convert this into a scoreless inning. First pitch chopper back to him. Wow, crazy play right here. Crazy play. Let's do it from the high home. First and third, no out. Ball checked back. He goes and decides to check the runner at third and then still feels like he has time to go to second, so he gets the lead out at second. So all that really did was it maintained first and third. Watch it again on the broadcast angle. Very unique happenings right here. Shohei's got a lot going on in his head, but he does a good job there to get the one out, and now he's a ground ball away from potentially getting out of it. That is going to bring up Fermin. First pitch, bastard sweeper down and away, swing and miss. Oh, Nathaniel Lowe owns Ohtani. Okay, interesting. Sweeper away ball. So sweeper to start the at-bat. Now he's going to go sinker. They go in looking for the double play here. Yep. Pulls it away. It's actually a strike, though. Great call by the umpire. And Laureano steals second. So second and third now, one out. Got to do a job at the plate. Sweeper coming here. A little hesitation leg hang sweeper. Pulls it for 3-2. And then he's going to end up walking him and loading the bases here with one out. So wasn't able to get the double play the first couple attempts around. But now he's going to get another chance at redemption here. So you want a strikeout or a double play here. And he's going to get it on the first pitch sweeper to Tatis. Chases it off the plate away. Hits it hard enough. Mookie to Kim over to Freddie. Double play. Tatis had been very patient early in the game, but goes ahead and is too aggressive here at the first pitch. This is why I tell pitchers all the time in big leverage spots, especially with good hitters up. Are you gonna live and die by throwing the first pitch in the zone? Probably not. What you should do, and what Shohei does here, is you throw a really good chase pitch first pitch. If the batter's too aggressive, which he pegs Tatis, Mr. Tatis, this guy right here, as being too aggressive, then you're going to get a swing out of the zone, and usually good things happen for the pitcher when you get a swing out of the zone. So not only does Shohei accomplish that, he accomplishes it perfectly, and he's able to get the double play. Great turn by the Dodgers. That essentially won the game for him. And Shohei was juiced. We're not going to have the full video of it, I don't think, but he went full, like, you know, flexing on everybody following this double play. And it's pretty cool to see. You can kind of see him on the back end here. Watch Shohei getting ready, and then big time. Him and Will Smith just loving it that they executed what they wanted and got the double play. So Shohei homers, also throws 5 scoreless innings, 88 pitches, lowers the ERA even further, all the way down to, what are we talking again? 0.84, is that where we're at? 0.73, excuse me, through 49 innings. So he's definitely the front runner for MVP again. I mean, no doubt about that. But man, one of a kind. We're witnessing it every single week. I would love to see him, be able to get that Cy Young. I think that would be epic. But he's got a lot of stiff competition, and we will see. But good game for the Dodgers. A lot of their stars starred, and that's definitely what you want to see. All right, let me get in the chat. I have not a lot of time. I have 15 minutes till I'm on, so maybe we can do a quick 2 prospects really fast and then hit probables and get out of here. Is Glasnow's fastball shape a better version of Ohtani's? Yes, it's better, has more ride. Better has more ride, but he's not a better pitcher than Ohtani, so, it's about how you use it. But in a bubble, yes, better pitch. Okay. Okay. Back to the main. We have 2 prospects, a couple prospects that Mitchie loaded up some quick videos on. Let's watch the catcher from Arkansas, Ryder Helfrick. Let's watch him hit a little bit. This is a possible top 10 pick. Watch him hit a little bit. Watch him throw a little bit from behind the plate. A little closed stance scissor action at the plate from what I'm seeing right here as he takes this ball off the center field wall for a hit.
Agreed.
Yeah, a little closed stance action. This is going to be an Oppo Taco? Pig Suey or whatever they call it out there at the Hogs, the Razorbacks. Ball's pummeled to right for a homer. Ooh, this one to left. So far, I'm not sure what to make of the swing yet. I like that he stays closed with that front shoulder, and he clearly has juice to all fields. But, you know, I mean, we're watching a highlight tape. I would imagine he's going to get pounded in pretty hard at the high level, and they're going to force him to decide whether he wants to open up or not. There's an Oppo shot off the wall. This guy looks like a great athlete, too, for a catcher. I'm seeing some speed. I'm seeing some physicality. The swing's pretty simple. It's got some loft to it, but I definitely like the fact that he's hitting the ball where it's pitched. So this is a pretty cool. I have a couple pitch plots for college pitchers I can send in the Discord. Yeah, I think I'm going to skip over the pitcher. Maybe I'll watch. I think I put one more pitcher on here who's actually a two-way guy. But yeah, that would be helpful for sure. Pig Suey. That's another home run on a hanging breaker. Facing Auburn. Ooh, that's 95 up and in, and he got to that for a homer in the dead center. I want to rewind this swing because this was an impressive swing. It's also 2-1 in the 8th. So this was a massive moment in this baseball game. Man, beat him to the spot at the top of the zone. 95, dead center home run. I know it's only 385 out there, but damn, what a swing by the kid. And Ryder, you know, outside of being a great Paw Patrol name, great baseball name too. Man, inside out's another up and in pitch. This swing is interesting. This is an intriguing hack. Definitely an intriguing hack. The ping from the aluminum sounds weird. I never liked it. The ping, ping. So we've seen the swing. It's pretty interesting. I don't have a ton of time today, so I'm just going to jump right into him making some catcher throws. All right, let's check out Ryder's catcher throws. Oop, there's one. Hoses him at second.
There goes Benson, waving a miss, throw down a second.
Looks pretty tight. Definitely has some arm strength. Ooh, also not afraid to go knee down with either knee. That's why he wasn't able to pick that, but he makes up for it with a dime to second on the throw. So a nice short arm stroke, good throwing arm for sure. For sure, good throwing arm. Ryder seems to watch a lot of Mike Trout with his swing and approach at the plate. Yeah, although, man, don't you think Mitch, he covered some balls up really well, even though I saw a lot of this in the swing, but he covered some balls up really well. Lackey is a better catcher. Yeah, well, those are the top two on the board. They're both going to go in the first round, maybe inside the top 10 picks. That's pretty good. Mitch had him clocked at 1.85 to 1.9 on his best bullets. And look, the arm is very important now because without it, it's a track meet for the other side. So, you know, it's a prerequisite, I think, if you're going to get picked super high in the modern game. So that's a safe. Ends up getting pushed off the bag. I'm seeing a guy who could be an above-average thrower back there for sure. Doesn't look like the transfer speed is as optimized yet, but definitely got a hose. So power to all fields, hose behind the plate. I did like Von Lackey a little bit more. I liked his swing a little bit more, but I can see that you know, why these guys are the top two catchers. So that's it for Ryder Helfrick. And then I wanted to watch Jared Grindlinger. Now, this guy's a two-way player. So, high school guy. And I saw most people view him in the first round as more of a hitter. So let's watch a little bit of his swing. This is a high school hitter, Jared Grindlinger out of California. Take a look at a couple of these swings. This is him playing in area code games. You think they weren't as high? I thought it looked like he covered the top pretty well, but let's see. Ryder had a 13.5% zone whiff, not horrible. Okay. It's a very tall setup. Some of that will need adjustment. Yeah, Trevor Condon's on the list too. We'll get to him. How scoutable, projectable is the ability to call a game and manage a staff from behind the plate? So first of all, a lot of college teams don't even let you do it. So that's a little bit of an issue. But yeah, I mean, I think if you have that baseball IQ, it'll play and it can be grooved. So this is like hard guy to evaluate. We're watching some older high school video here. I'm going to switch to the side view of his swing here in a minute. I'm seeing a little bit of Dustin Ackley in the swing, maybe a little bit. I don't know. Let me see him from... Oh, that's from pitching. Timeout. Hitting side angle. I mean, it's just sometimes hard, like, you know, there's such a lack of physicality, you know, and strength sometimes with the high school guys. So sometimes it's hard to tell. Grindlinger was by far the best contact hitter on the circuit last year, 100th percentile for almost everything contact related. Okay, good to know. Very good to know. Also a two-way guy, so obviously has some arm talent as well. We'll watch a couple pitches of him throwing, and then I got to do probables, and I got to get on the Zoom, or they're going to get after me. So that's the swing from the side. Kind of like it. This is Jared as a pitcher from the center field angle. Let's just get a quick view of him pitching for Team USA here. They said as a pitcher, he'd be more of like a second or third round potential prospect, but as a hitter, they like him a little higher than that. But obviously, this all kind of plays into it. The two-way ability, he's definitely got some arm ability, some projectability in the frame. Doesn't look like he's really hit puberty or really anything yet, to be honest. I mean, I guess he probably has, but it looks like there's a lot of room for growth physically. His brother is a tank for Tennessee, I think. He spins off to get to inside pitches, looks really awkward. Yeah, I just get the sense that this guy's a tough scout on video, especially from those swings. But this is him out. This is him pitching. That's a pretty nice changeup. He's showing some fastball, showing some rhythm. So I think you're basically drafting an athlete who shows potential for top of the scale contact rates at the plate. So we'll see. Going to put on 25 pounds in a pro lifting regimen. I mean, easily. And then that'll probably do something to the way that swing looks. But that's it for Grindlinger. That's it for today. Let's shoot over to our probables, and then we'll go there. Grindlinger will be the youngest draft eligible player. Reclassified from 2027 will be 17 at draft day. That is massive for the models these days. They want you to be young. So that's going to help him probably. All right, probables, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, Cantillo and Mize, Guardians, Tigers from Comerica. Pirates, Cardinals, Ashcraft, awesome, and Dustin May from Bush, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of tarps off. It's shirt waving. Mets at Nationals, Peterson, Cavalli. Peterson's traditionally handled the ball very well at Nats Park. We'll see how that one goes today at 4 o'clock. Braves, Marlins, Spencer Strider, Sandy Alcantara. Very good matchup. Jays, Yankees, Fisher, and a bullpen day of the Jays, and Carlos Rodon. Looking for Carlos Rodon to take a big step forward today. He's been shaky the first two, but the signs are there. A's, Angels, Soriano was awful his last start, needs to bounce back, and Sevy for the A's. Rockies, Diamondbacks is our last game of the day. Zach Agnos, so probably a bullpen day for the Rockies, I believe. And then Erod, who's been pretty good for the D-backs. That's it. Not a ton of games on our schedule tonight. Both New York teams in action, so you know I'll be watching that. I think Ashcraft might be the best pitcher in action tonight at the moment. Maybe him and Soriano. So we'll see how that goes. All right, that's it. Thank you guys for hanging with me today. I will see you guys on tomorrow's stream. Catch me tonight on Yes. Fourth game of the series, Jays, Yankees. Catch me on MLB Now in 5 minutes. So I'm going to go get on that right now. All right, have a good day. See you guys. Thanks for hanging with me today. Bye-bye.